listeners, Harika here, and I'm super excited to welcome you to UppTalk. If you're ready to learn and get your hands work wonders in the world of information technology, then you're in the right place. When I say UppTalk, we are not just another edtech company. Consider we are your learning partner committed to unlocking your full potential. Whether you're stepping into the world of technology for the first time or looking to advance your career, we provide top-tier, hands-on courses to build up your career. Let's take our first step towards learning here and explore it.
Now the last part is, and the last foundation element is your dimensions. What is the dimension? We did this in the first class. That dimension is also another hierarchy that is given to your system, that is given to your data. It is basically providing you a logical category to that particular data. If, for example, there are several products in your company, you know if there are 10 products, if there are 15 products, you can name it as a dimension, and inside that dimension you can list down your products. What do you see? Product A, B, C can be your values and product is your dimension. The reason it is created as a dimension because it is not having a 1:1 relationship with anywhere. It is independent and the companies are going to plan at this level. What do I mean by plan at this level? I am going to be the person in charge for product A and I am going to plan at this level that this is the number of products I have sold. I can reduce the number, I can increase the number, whatever it is for product A, I need to do that planning. That's why I require this as a dimension. Similarly, suppose if you're in your stores, there are several employees working, and you want to do a salaries for them. You want to record some kind of things for you need to assign the job profile for them. It can be any name. As of now, I'm just a return. The footballers Ronaldo, Messi, Nehama. You cannot create them in levels, right? You cannot create them in attributes. You cannot create them in accounts because this is not a 1:1. This is not your organization. Hierarchy, right? This is not a placeholder for accounts. What are these? These are dimensions because you're recording some kind of data for Ronaldo. You're recording some kind of data for Messi. This becomes your dimension. Similarly, in companies, there are several departments. You know it. Department is there, admin is there, HR is the, sales is there. Some kind of companies, they need the planning to be done by department level. Also said that they want to know how many people left in the IT department, how many people joined in the admin department. What was the cost of operations for this particular year? They are doing certain kind of planning. They are not doing analysis. They are doing certain kind of planning. That's why these become a dimension. These are not 1:1 relationship, right? What are 1:1 relationship? We did this. For example, employee gender is male. You go here. What is Ronaldo? Ronaldo is male, right? Messi is male. This becomes your 1:1 attribute. This is 1:1 thing. This is 1:1 thing. But this is not a 1:1 thing, right? There can be 100 employees in your company's right. And it can keep on increasing. The people will come and go. Your new year employees will come and go. You will come and your existing employees will go. This will keep changing. And you need to plan at that level. You need to plan at employee level. You need to plan at department level. You need to also plan by region level. You need to plan by region level and similarly by product level. Wherever you want to plan it, that needs to be as a dimension. You need to understand what is a gender, what is an attribute, and what is a dimension. Similarly, product color. There are certain colors here. For example, if I tell you that product is always pink color, product B is always black color, and this is always gray color. That means this is having a 1:1 relationship. Do you agree? Product B is always black color. Product C is always gray color. That is a 1:1 attribute. This becomes an attribute, but this becomes a dimension. Because you are planning at this level, you're not planning at pink wing black level. You're only doing that analysis. Pink, these many products were sold, but you want the planning to be done on product A. You then can several other plannings. You don't know what exactly the requirements come into the system. It is not a 1:1 relationship. It is always a logical category that the company wants to do on the planning basis. One of the differences, you can record data at the dimensions. You cannot record data and attributes. Attribute is just a tagging, right? If you notice, we did the tagging here, right? It was a tagging you did not. You cannot load data in this particular value. You cannot load data because this is just a tagging to this. But when you create a dimension, you can load data. Similarly here account, you can load data in account. Similarly here account, you can load data in that account or dimension, but not on the attribute value. Let's try to build some dimensions in the screen. You again go to model management and you can see this dimension and dimension attributes which we are covering in this later part of the training. Now dimensions. Click on dimensions. Again, you will witness the screen is exactly same. Again one box which is dimension, again second box is the value. What you see in the screen, it is all dimensions. And inside those dimensions, you can see the values. Similarly, let's create one value which is less create. Let's say employee name, I'm creating. Or let's say we are creating product. I'm going to say product. Product name. I will write it as underscore. A product name, and inside this product name, I will create several values of product. Product, product. A copy, and I will save and new. You can see the save and new option is there. Inside that product name again, I will create another product. I will write this product B. Save and new. I will write this product. Now I've created a dimension. It was easy to create because we created in a similar way. It's the same interface. Only thing, this changes dimension and the right hand side will change a little bit. I will explain the attributes and the properties which are coming here. But everything for the name code and this particular thing is the same. It's not confusing at all for all of us. Now you can see product is created. Now I want to say that I want to tag a color to this product is always this color, product B is always this color. What can? What is the thing that will come to your mind that the color should be created as an attribute? I would create this as an attribute now, where you can create it. Let's go to model management again. I will go to model management. Model management. Yesterday you created level attributes. Today you created account attributes. And the final is your dimension attributes. Attributes can be tagged to levels, to dimensions, and to accounts. That's it. Version is standalone. Time is standalone. There is no relevance for here, but here levels, dimension, and accounts. You can tag attributes. Let's go to dimension attributes. Here, you will have to select your product name because inside product name, you want this attribute, right? For which particular dimension it is going to be used for this attribute. What you will do again the same thing. I will write here, color of the product. It's existing. Let's say color. This is not existing. Always remember that you cannot have a similar names existing in Adaptive because once you upload data, you need that bifurcation that this data needs to go here. Otherwise, the data can be going in the same placeholder, which will create a problem for us. Right? I will create values inside the color. Let's create one by one. Pink, black, black. Whatever we are practicing, please do that. Once our sessions are completed, because it will help, this is done. Now where it will reflect? It will reflect in this particular pane under dimension attributes. Let's refresh the page. What do we need to do? We need to do the tagging to the products. Now you can see this color product which we created is reflecting here. Let's do the tagging. It's similar way which we did for accounts also today. Let's tag this as pink color. Let's tag this product B as black color. Can you see the blue icon here? And there is no blue icon here. That means this is a tag to something. It is in use and they are not in use. Once you click on black here and save it, the next time you go and attach, you will see black also is in use. That's the symbolism of this blue dot. Let's say the final is great and I save it. In a similar way which you did for accounts, you can do it for dimensions also. Now we created a product name. We attach attributes to it. This we created in a manual way. You utilizing this option, new dimension, and then the value, and then you can obviously do this same feature, move up and move down. Delete option is there and your printable view option is there. It downloads all the thing. Now, if you want to do a bulk upload of your employee list, let's say there are 100 employees, how you will create it. You cannot do this manually as this. It's a very time consuming process. What is advisable? You just create import. Again, it's the same thing which we did for accounts. It's the last option here which says import dimension structure. You click on import dimension structure and click on the download template. A download template again will be installed, downloaded, and you have to fill in the data there and upload it again in this. You get an additional option which is called as remove. Basically, remove is like a delete option that you don't want these particular levels. Sorry, dimensions in here. But reload again, we don't use it because entire system, the values will get deleted. If you want to delete certain levels, certain dimensions, you use this. But if you want to create new, you use the first one. Let's create some values. Let's say I'm going to create some employee name. It's an opening. Again, we should record. It's always advisable to read the instructions page and not delete anything, especially the required columns. Let's say dimension name that we want to create is employee name. I don't want a shortening. This type is I will see whether it is mandatory or not. It's optional. In F and G column, I will write the values. You wrote the name here. By the way, you wrote the name employee name here. But when you write the values, you start from the row below. Always remember in the template, whatever you do, you should always keep the entire row blank. And in the next, you will write the values. Same goes with your attributes. Same goes with your accounts also. Now I want to create certain values here. Let's say, I don't know. You're trying to tell that B5, C5 should be blank. Not always B5. It can be anything. I'm just saying that once you write anything in this particular dimension name, because when you create anything, this is the first thing you create, right? And then you create this one. Correct? Correct. You need one line in the Excel file to call out this. Then the second line, you need this, whatever it is. You need that. It's reading the whole row. It's going whenever the input is happening. It is reading the whole row. Now that's why. You keep everything blank because you're creating this here. If you do here also like Ronaldo, it will not get created. It will not get created because here itself you're seeing this. And then you see this. Always whatever is there in the dimension name. After that, keep everything blank because this is the value code that you need to enter. I will just write it here. The name and the code remains the same. And let's see which are the other thing. If left blank, I want to check this. What if left blank? The value will not roll up to any other level. Parent. Let's mention the parent as employee name because we want to be created under this. Correct. Inside employee name, we want these employees. I will just save this. I will copy paste the path. Cancel. I will go here. It's the dimension page. I will just go here. First option is for me. I'm going to create new values. Open the file is selected upload. Let's see if we get any errors or if it's successful. We have errors. Let's say we download the file. The beauty of adaptive is if you have error in one line, also the other lines will not be uploaded. You have to have a crystal clear Excel file. That's the meaning of that. What I'm trying to say is we tried to import 6 employees and we are getting errors in every employee. Basically, let's see what is the error. I'm just to see you can see an additional tab came with which is pointing out the error roles up to parent was not found. Roles up to parent was not found. Let's do one thing. Ideally, we should not do this, but let's create employee name. Now it's there. And I just save this again. I've created this employee name. Info copy path. I will again choose the file. Let's see. We are now created the same with the same name and still we are getting error. Why is that? I will explain the functionality of this also, but just we need to complete this exercise. It's the same name, right? Employee name. What's the error? Instruction. Let's go instructions. Instruction. Let's go instructions. We have done this North America. Parent, they have kept it as blank. Let's say we don't write anything in parent. We don't write anything and we just copy paste the same name for because we don't want. Employee name. I just deleted what was written in the parent column. I will just refresh once again the page. Cancel import. Once you start doing and once you also get errors, uh, you will you will get very comfortable on the tenant. You can see all the employees have been added here. Ronaldo, Messi, everything. Now you can see one thing that is not in the alphabetical order. If you want this on alphabetical order, you can use this keep sorted thing. You just proceed and just save it. Once you do that, save for keep sorted. You will see it is in the alphabetical order. Now, what I want to tell is about this data input. We talked yesterday also that the problem is you should never you should realize or you should understand when to keep this checked and when to not keep this as checked. What happens when you keep this as a check? Whenever you run integrations for employees, suppose, and there could be 100 employees in the system, there could be 500 employees in the system, but it can be changing. For example, Rini is an employee. Rini can be written like this, like this, like this, right? Sometimes user can make the mistake for the same employee, right? You cannot control the end user to write what he is doing or what he is typing. It's just by default thing that they work in Excel file, and in Excel file the problem of duplicates will exist a lot. If you keep this open, if you keep this checked, then all these values in adaptive will be created. What happens if you do for Ronaldo? Whatever way I am typing, it will all get created. It will all get created because I don't know. I am the end user. I'm typing anything, but all these values are getting created for Ronaldo. But ideally, it should not get created, right? Because some data will go here, some data will go here. Eventually, the final total of Ronaldo will not be same. You guys agree. The final total of Ronaldo will show a mismatch error. Why is there a mismatch coming? Because you have duplicates in the system. And why do you have the duplicates? Because you have this open. And once the integrations are running from backend, the duplicate values will be created. It is not advisable to always click on this option. It is only advisable if you have confidence in the system that only these values are there and there are no duplicates in the system. In the case, suppose there are case with vendors. There can be n number of vendors and you are not doing any kind of analysis on the vendors. Vendor A, B, C, whatever it is. It can be n number of vendors and it can go down to 3000. List of 3000 vendors. For such cases, you can keep this as on. You can keep this as on because if you see, you go and to import 3000 dimensions. Also, it is a hectic task to create it manually. It is very hectic. It's better to handle it through an integration. For such cases, you can check the box, and for cases where you're not confident, you do not check the box. For it's good. You can see one feature is there which is used on levels which is not there here, but in certain cases it is highlighted. Whenever you create a new dimension, it's already not there because you're clear, because by default, when you create a new dimension, it's creating as a list dimension. What do you mean by list? List is basically like this. Now, if I want this kind of a hierarchy, let's say product. Let's say product name. Product, and inside that I want product. I want product. Has further more products. This is possible, right? This is possible. You can have some products of products. It's possible. Now let's go in the system which we have built. Can you change? Can you change? Now can you go and add a product inside this? Can you see if I add it here, you will not be able to add. Can you see what is happening? Your parent is grayed out. Product. It's locked. It's locked. Why it is locked? Because your product name, which is the parent, it's already created as a list dimension and you cannot change it. This is again a good question of interview that. Can dimensions be hierarchical or it can only be list? The answer is yes, but when you need to address is at the time of creation. At the time of creation, you have to untick this option. Did you see you have to untick this option. Now I would say that product name. 2. I would just write this as 2. I am creating one below the other. Inside this product name, I am going to create a dimension value. I would say this is product. Product. I think this is similar name. It will not take. I'm just writing TT this for that we don't get an error. Now inside product, I'm going to create another value. Now this is, do you see this? It is not in gray. In previous product name it was gray. You are not allowed to change the parent, but now it is allowing you to change the parent and you can select the further hierarchy. Now what I'm doing is product 1, product 1, and you will see the hierarchy is created. Inside product name 2, you have product, and inside product you have this. This is a hierarchical dimension. And if you see the one below, this is a list dimension. By default, Adaptive prefers. Which dimension? List dimension. But if you want hierarchical dimension, what do? You basically just untick this. It's simple. It's an interview question, guys. If you can take notes also, it's very good. This is an interview question. Now, with that, we complete our dimensions also and your attributes also. Any questions? Any questions? Now we have completed, levels. We have completed level attributes, dimensions, dimension attributes, general ledger accounts, metric accounts, custom accounts, assumptions. We will cover later on an accounts attributes. We have covered versions also, and we have covered these currencies and exchange rates also. We have done everything. Basically, to build anything in Adaptive, you want understanding of this model. You want understanding of the currencies and exchange rate. It's pretty much the same, similar to custom accounts. You have the metric account structure. If you click on metric accounts, the entire panel in the top and in the right hand side will be same. You can see this, it's the same, and you can create the financial ratios here. You can see all the percentage accounts will be reflecting in the metric accounts. It's the same here. We will do a certain, case studies. When we do the building of standard sheet or cube sheet, we will do every example for a metric account, for a custom account, and on. This was about it that we covered, which we discussed in the first session, that you need to identify the foundation elements and you need to build the foundation elements and adaptive. Only then you can start building models. What do you mean by models? I mean that in models, you need this kind of view if you want to build a P&L statement, balance sheet, cash flow, expenses, workforce planning. This is all secondary step. What is the first step that you do? You do everything here. This is the first step. You set up the levels, you set up the version, you set up the accounts, and then you set up the currencies and exchange rate. Then only you can have the front end working for you. Without this, you cannot have any front end. You cannot have any front end. What is adaptive planning and how we can build it? We understood that for even to start off anything, we need to first identify the foundation elements. In order to identify those elements, we wanted to understand each of them one by one and how they are built in the system. Correct? After that, in our lectures, we started with levels. We build this kind of levels in our practice tenant. Then we have certain currencies already in the system. A lot of them are in the system. Along with the exchange rate, we would use that only. We created one practice version for 2022. We will use that during our practice. And then we created certain attributes. But after that, we also focus on your account sync. We created these accounts. We also created such kind of accounts in custom accounts that we are familiar with the interface of how we can use them. We created a list of accounts. We created a list of accounts. We created a list of accounts, and then we created a list of accounts to see how an account looks. And then our focus was on attribute sync, which where we use for tagging to three elements. One is level, second is dimension, third is account. We understood the purpose of each and how we can do the tagging that we have a one-to-one relationship established. The final thing was about dimensions, and I explained you the differences between what is an attribute and what is a dimension. Dimension is something where you will record the data, but attributes is something which you will only use for tagging purpose. Whenever you will do any kind of a planning, you will have to use it as a dimension. If you want to do only reporting or analysis kind of a purpose, then you figure it out by an attribute. These were the things which we covered far, and we built everything in the system, all the elements that we studied. Now, once this is done, we will go and build out a standard sheet. Today's topic is a standard sheet. Basically, there are three types of sheets, or sheets are nothing but your models. These are models. Basically, in an Excel file, whatever you create, you have something in this column, you have something in rows, and then you enter the data right. That is called a sheet. Similarly, in adaptive, that is called as a model. It can be any financial model. It can be any kind of operational model, whatever it is it. You have to understand that. Understand the requirement from the client and accordingly decide which type of a sheet can be built. Basically, there are three types of sheets. that Adaptive provides you. One is your standard sheet, one is your cube sheet, and one is your model sheet. You will have to understand that there are three types of models that can be built in Adaptive. Based on every requirement, you decide that for this requirement, I will create it as a standard sheet. But for this requirement, I will use as a cube sheet. In today's lecture, we focus on these two sheets. I will give you a simple example to understand when, as an implementer, you need to create as a standard sheet. And when, as an implementer, you think that this particular requirement should be, handled by a cube sheet. This is the focus for today. Basically, what you see in the screen is called a sheet and Adaptive. Why it is called? Because it is allowing you to view the data, it is allowing you to enter the as well, right? You are able to enter and you are able to perform certain kinds of calculations also, right? You're doing everything here. Yes, doing everything. Basically, it's allowing you to view data. It's allowing you to enter data. It's allowing you to edit data. Whatever you can do in a sheet, in an Excel file, it's possible to do it in Adaptive also. That's why it is called. It's called a sheet where we could definitely build any kind of a models. First, we focus on the standard sheet. Standard sheet you need to understand. Let me ask you a question. Can you tell me the four mandatory foundational elements? I'm talking about the four mandatory foundational elements. You mean Adaptive? Yes, in Adaptive we studied 8 elements yesterday, like in the last 2 sessions, the 4 mandatory. We just have to list it down, which are the 4 mandatory elements. Perfect. Yes, and the fourth is accounts, periods, versions, and time. The period is nothing but your time. Time period is the same. It's just the one. 1 second. Let me just try to recall. It's just the fourth element. And basically, I spoke to you that if there are certain stores in your different countries, what are those called organization hierarchy? Regions, right? It's basically called as levels which you've got. These are 4 mandatory things. And without any of these, or like if you have only 3 and you just skip one, you cannot do anything. Basically, this means that in a standard sheet you need these 4 elements. It is mandatory. If a model has these 4 elements, only 4 elements, then it is a standard sheet. Now what is the difference that happens in a cube sheet? In a cube sheet, you can have the same mandatory elements again, but you can add a dimension, you can add an attribute to that sheet. That's the difference. You cannot add dimension and attribute in a standard sheet. That's why it is given the feasibility to build a different kind of a model, which is a cube sheet. We do this exercise today to understand how a standard sheet is built, how cube sheet is built, and to also understand whether what kind of a requirement can be tackled in a standard sheet. Or if it is not tackled in a standard sheet, then how we can incorporate in a cube sheet, model sheet. We will do it tomorrow. But just to tell you it will. Everything will be there here. It's the same. Only thing is, whatever the limitations of cube sheet are there, which we will study today, it will be overcome in model sheets. Basically, whatever the limitations are there in standard, it is overcome by cube. Whatever the limitations are there in a cube sheet, it is overcome by model sheet. That's why there are three different kind of sheets are given to the implementers, and then they get the chance to decide that for certain requirements we can handle it as a standard sheet. For certain requirements we can handle it as a model sheet. That's how we are going to understand and learn like what type of model can be built. One question here. This pivot, the pivot in case, if you want to kind of, have your pivots in your sheets, can that be run only in a model sheet? No, it can be done anywhere. Basically, that is the pivot thing is nothing but your reporting requirements. Reports can be created of all of these models, all of this model. But basically, each and every data that you have an adaptive, you can create a report out of that, every data, and every model you can create. I would like to answer it now. But I would say that once you understand how a cube sheet is built and once you understand the difference between standard and cube, then it would be very simple for me to explain you that what will be the difference in a model. Is that fine? By the end of the session today, you will have the answer for this. Just keep this in mind that we can cover it in the later half. Before we start the generation of these two sheets, I will just show you in adaptive. How is it currently looking? We will just go and see what kind of sheets are there. Let's say this is where you will build. Everything you've done here right. You're done with versions, your levels, dimensions are done. Now you go just below this. There is called a sheets. One is the level assigned and one is a user assigned. What does this level assigned, user assigned? There is a separate class for there which we will cover tomorrow. No problem with that. But just to give you a brief level assigned, as the name says these sheets are assigned to levels. That means if you have an access to one particular Mumbai level, only Mumbai level will have the access to that sheet. Suppose it's a user level sheet. We have Rini in there, we have Thomas in there, but we only want the access to be given to Rini. It's a user assigned sheet, not a level assigned sheet. Basically, if you want to create a model only for Rini and not for you, we create in this way. That's the meaning of you want to level this. Like in case if you want to create a model, you want to give access to a particular region, the example that we discussed. Correct. Perfect. We will understand how we can restrict that. And suppose there are 10 regions, and if you want to select only 5 regions, you can do that. That's the flexibility that the model is giving you. This is basically just to keep the data confidentiality of the data right. Yes, correct. The security part of the models, correct? Let's go in level assigned sheet. First, we focus on level assigns and we will see what type of sheets are there in the system. We will just read it down one by one that you understand better. What you need to read is the name and the type that is mentioned here. We just studied 3 types of things. P&L is standard, functional P&L is standard, balance sheet is standard, cash flow is standard. You can see there are certain sheets already built as a standard sheet. Let's search for a cube sheet now, which is the cube sheet. The product revenue sheet is a cube sheet. The sources of new revenue is a cube sheet. Daily support call plan is a cube sheet. You understand from the back end that which is a cube sheet, which is a model sheet, and which is a standard sheet. Only in the front end how you can figure out. I will explain you today. But how you can understand it from back end. This is how you will understand. This is the basically you can call it as a sheet builder page. Where you come here, you click on new sheet and create a new sheet according to your name and whatever accounts you want to add. You have to understand that to create any standard sheet, what you need these four elements. You need a version, you need accounts, you need times, and you need levels. Without this, you cannot create any standard sheet. Let's open a standard sheet, for example. Let's say I will open expenses. Expenses in a standard sheet. Yes, let's say I open expenses sheet. This is the like. This is how the front end of the standard sheet will look. And by default, you can see accounts here. You can see levels here. You can select a number of levels. If you change the level to United States, the data will reflect based only for the United States. The template remains the same. You know the template did not change. It is the same. You can just scroll down. You will see the template is same. And you can see the certain numbers are in black, bold and certain. You can see there is a small triangle out there. Any guesses what is the small triangle and why is this bold and why this is normal? Any wild guesses? It is a simple answer. I think the greens are the actuals. Perfect. Greens is actual. And the black are basically the forecast figures which can be edited. Yes, correct. And the one, what you see, the small triangle, looking at the accounts. It looks like these are metric accounts. No, no, no. It's close enough. It's close enough. Good try. Basically, whenever you see a triangle, you understand that these are calculated accounts. That calculated accounts means you can have a formula in that. If you check the formula, basically, formulas are the ones which are run through a metric account, right? No, you can also have a formula in all types of accounts. Yesterday, what we studied, let me just open that page. We studied all these kinds of accounts, 6 accounts. Yes, formulas can be written in all types of accounts. It does not restrict only for metric. You can write formulas. Basically, what do you tell that displays on a percentage basis, right? Yes, it's basically like a financial ratio. But to clear your doubt, formulas can be written in every account. Similar to an Excel file, you can write formulas for this also, right? You can write formula for this. You can write formula for this. You can write formulas in anywhere, in any cell, right, in an Excel file. Similarly, in Adaptive, you can write formulas for all types of accounts. It does not restrict you. You just need to understand when to use metric account, when to use custom account, when to use cube accounts. That's the only difference. But once you understand which account is used, where and why we are using it, then you can build any kind of a model. Right now, we are just building this kind of a model. We want this sheet to be displayed. And we will name the sheet as CF Practice Revenue Sheet. Is this fine? We will build this. This is the name of our sheet. And we are going to build this in Adaptive. We have already identified what are the accounts. We have already identified the time slot. Time is already there. We have already created certain levels, right? And we have already created a version. We will check. We will just check once before we start anything in the sheet section. I just wanted to explain you 4 things here. One is the triangle thing, one whenever you find a triangle. Notice in any cell, you can just look at this formula bar. This is called as a formula bar. You can see here, you will see there is a formula written here, which is something there. This is a numerator and this is our denominator. And it's a division function which has been used. If you see a triangle, You just click on it and you will see the formula. If you see a normal black particular cell, you will see values only here. That means these values can be changed, can be edited from the lowest level. The one you missed out is your blackboard, which you can just see and read it out. It's a total. That's why it is coming in adaptive by default as board because you cannot change it. In order to change this, you need to change the child level. Basically, if I collapse this 7,000 allocation, you will see that this is the final total for 7,000 allocation. And this is your final total for the rule of things. Basically, if I just collapse the main account, the parent account, you will see this is the final total. If you want to see the bifurcation of this, you just explore this and you'll see the bifurcation. That's how it is used in. This is called the account rule of hierarchy. Similar. It is just similar to a roll-up hierarchy when you created Mumbai under India. We are trying to build this sheet here. Let's check what do we have in the system. What do? We go here modeling first. I will check if I have a version, if I created a practice version. Practice budget 23 version is there. I am going to use this. This starts with startup plan January, end of line is the FY 23. Perfect. Let's say I will make this as FY 24. Because I want this end of plan to have 2 years at least. I made the changes here. Version is done. Should I proceed ahead? Since we are using a demo tenant, you will not see your time here. There is time below versions. You have to do nothing. This is a by default feature is going to have you monthly wise data. Why monthly? See, you can see this is only month, 1 month wise data. This kind of setting exists here. As of now, you don't see that screen, but you don't have a monthly. But usually any implemented does not do any kind of a change here. It's just by default month. Version and time is done too. Parameters are done. Let's check for levels. Did we create any hierarchy for capturing India, Mumbai and see if this is our level? I will just rename this CF level that we don't have any confusion. I will say, see, if demo practice like this, you have demo practice, we will use this level everywhere. Inside CF, we have India, USA. I will just move this up. It's not working. Let's move this up. I don't know if it's moving or not, but it should. In India, we have Mumbai. In Mumbai, we have one store. I think we did not create few more stores. Let's just create randomly in Bangalore. I'm going to create another store. I'm going to create something under USA also for New York, for example. I will write as anti-XML6. I will write, oh, I did not change the roll-up. This is a mistake. I will go here and R6 again. I will change the roll-up to New York. And save it. I want it under New York. It's allowing me to accept the changes. And I want one under Philadelphia also. Let's create another store. For an example, here I'm going to change the roll up. For it's good for us to start off with. I'm with this level hierarchy and I'm going to use the only for this level. This particular sheet will be accessible. We have the levels also like company A, B, C. I will restrict them for using this sheet. This sheet is only visible for this one. How we can do it, I will teach you. This one. The third element is also done. We are to go. Now the fourth one is your accounts. Looking at this, can you say, do you think this is a normal chart of account structure or a GL account? Do you think it's a GL account or it's a customer card? Perfect. We will create this as a custom account like we did yesterday. These are custom accounts. Now I'm going to open custom accounts. I think we created yesterday. We will just have a look of how it was created. And if anything is missing, we will add it. Not this one. Oh no, I think we did not create. We create the other accounts. Let's create it now. What I will do, I will create by import template directly. Import account structure. I will do this. Download template. And I will open this Excel file. Now just to explain you what are the mandatory things. When you create an account, you will see code is mandatory. You will see name is mandatory. It rolls up to is mandatory by default. The remaining features will be there. That will be coming. You will have to change this as number and currency accordingly. We have to see what is number and what is currency. And if there is a formula in somewhere, we will edit the formula here. As of now, we just create the accounts and then we write the formulas. Let's do that. Let's do that. This is the template. We do not change anything or delete anything. We will just create the account. Let's copy paste directly. These are the 6 accounts or 7 accounts I want to create. I just copy paste directly. Copy paste it inside name. I just wrote it down here. I copy paste it again. I do it here. But in code, what is the best practice to do? You should never keep a blank space. Perfect. I would do underscore. And whatever the accounts you create, you should always make it very compact. As of now, it's just keeping the same, but you should make sure that the account name is not too huge. Because if it is huge, then it becomes very, it is not good for presentation. Like if you read the formulas, then it becomes very complicated. You will understand when you will write the formula. Because in adaptive, we are addressing the accounts and not the cells. That's why this code column is very important. Code is done. Let's create a roll-up level, a group for this particular calculation. And what is the name of the sheet? And what is the name of the sheet? I would just did here. I will copy paste the same. This is the group name that I'm keeping the same thing. I'm just saving it. I have created this and inside this, I will import these accounts. The rolls up to will be this one. I'm going to create it this way. I have this accounts. I have this thing rest. Everything is your default thing, but we need to change one thing, which is a currency and number. For fifth, we will see your number and rest is currency. We just keep it down. And which one is number? One more thing is number. I think number of products sold. This one, I will change it to. 1 second. This one, I will change it to number. Number currency, currency, currency. Everything is currency. Now we are good to go. I will import this in the standard sheet. I mean in the account structure. I'm just copy pasted the path. I come here, import account structure, update and append again, copy pasted the link. Here it is and upload. Let's see if we get any errors. Once this is done, we can proceed ahead with the standard sheet creation because we have done the form. We can see that we have it in this particular things. Now let's build the standard sheet. How you can build a standard sheet? Go to modeling. You go to level assigned sheets. Whenever you watch the recording or anything again, you just note down certain important steps there, which we are doing in this as of now. If you are doing it, but if you get a chance while watching the recording also, you can click on new sheet always. And then you get a create new sheet option where you get to choose. You want it as a standard. You want it as a model sheet. You want it as a cube sheet. You decided here itself which type of sheet you want. By default, it is standard. We keep the name as it is. What is the name of the sheet we had copied for? This was the name of the sheet. I'm just writing the name of the sheet here. Name is done. Create new sheet is done. This is not mandatory. We click on next. This is the first step. Click on next. Now let's see what is the second window that is coming up, and you will see step 1 of 4. It is asking you to select accounts. Correct. It is asking you which accounts you want to be displayed in the sheet. Which accounts you want. You want these accounts only that you created right now. Correct. The beauty of adding a group before was you can directly add a group and automatically the accounts rolling in under that group will be added here. That's why we did that. You can see you have to add all the accounts here. How you can add? You can see select accounts option on the right hand side, right hand page. This is basically a sheet builder where did you create the account? You created that account in customs, custom account. Correct? Correct. 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 It was a custom account. You come here and click on the custom account thing and you search for those groups that you created here. I think it's down, 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 down. It's way down. Otherwise, there is a search option also. I would do basically search with the name. That's it. Once you select the CF, it's got added. Similarly, if you want to add anything, you search everything here and you just click on this and click on add to group. Now what I did and search and press enter. That's why it got added here. If you want to delete again from this, just delete it. Delete selected item. It will vanish again. If you want to add again, you click on CF practice sheet and click on add to group. Once you click on that group, all the group all the accounts inside that group got added automatically. Now if not, tell me, if you just select total selling price and add it to group, what will happen? Only one account will be there here in this. The other accounts will not be there. If you want to add it, you can select multiple accounts at a time. You have to do it manually. That's why it is always advisable to create a group first. You understand the importance of a group. Yes, you're loving it because you're clubbing it. One step. 1 out of 4 is done. Let's move on to next step. I just have one doubt here. Assume this. For this, in this particular exercise, we have kind of imported the custom accounts right to this import option. And after I've added here, I realized that I wanted to add one more account to this group. Can I go back to the group and edit and add? And once I add that, will it automatically be included here? It will be automatically reflecting here because you created that inside this. For example, you go here. Where are we? Let's go in custom accounts. Suppose you go here. You're telling inside this, you create one more account, right? Inside this only. Correct. Inside this, if you create, it will automatically get added here. But if you create something outside, then you need to add because it is rolling up to somewhere else only. Somewhere else. But as of now, it is rolling under your practice test. It will show up. Let's do that. Let's first continue the process. Next, I will do next. Test point. Step 2 is always, optional. You don't have to do this. It is a new feature where a standard sheet can also add a level dimension to it. But as of now, we haven't taken any example because if you need a dimension in the sheet, it is always advisable that you make it as a cube sheet. I will explain you why I am talking about that. But step 2 is always optional in a standard sheet. Just keep this in mind. It is not mandatory. Step 3 or 4 is specify initial view. The next step is to specify the initial view. If you notice this expense sheet, this is view by account level. You can see the data by accounts. Your levels are here. But if I tweak this to view by level, what I did was I clicked on the right click on the first row and I did this view by level. The template remains the same. But the data is displayed by levels. Now you can see the levels are coming here and the accounts have went here. It's just the swap. The access have been swapped. Did you notice? Did you notice what happened? Yes. Usually what is preferred is we have by default view by account only because we want the accounts here and we want the level structure here. Because sometimes it becomes very tedious to see one by one account. That's what it is asking here us, that what type of initial view you prefer. Always clicks starting view by level. No, in fact, do not click this. Because if you click this, that will the data. Keep it. In default, it will be a car. By default, it is account. Let's keep it as it is. We skip this part. Now the step 4. You can see and easily read out what is written. You have to specify which levels this particular sheet needs to be given access to. You get the control here to select which sheet, which level. This sheet will be available. For this, we are only selecting this level right. The sheet should only be visible to this level. Inside CF, you should select all the levels basically. You need to even selecting the parent. Because you are selecting a subgroup, what happens? If you want to select the entire thing, you just click on this. All the levels are getting selected. But the problem is when you do for one level at a time, that is one group at a time. You have to do this exercise. It's just a one-time exercise. You don't require it to do it every time. Let's say in USA also, I want to have this. And it should be accessible. In stores it. The lowest level data is your store 11, but your data is going to be stored at this level, not at this level. They are only going to roll up the data to Philadelphia. You understanding? Understanding. Yes, let's do it similarly for Bangalore and Mumbai. Mumbai we have this store and 4 and Chennai. Now we have selected which level should have the access. I will do this at create sheet. This is the standard sheet creation which we have already done. You can see a green pop up coming up that the standard sheet name this has been created. It's done. We just click on done and you will see that at the bottom with the name. It's already created. This is your model which you just built. Save standard sheet. Now this is the back end of the part. Now how you can view in this front end. You have to click on the navigation menu, open this, and you will see at the let's refresh the page first. Sheets is not visible or it's. Let's click on overview. If you don't see anything, click on overview and try to notice what is the problem. In overview, all the sheets are reflected. It's not applicable. Because of this, it was throwing error. We have not created in operations. I think by default something is happening. It's only using it because of this version. Let's check for our version, which is Practice Budget 2023. We want to work in our version. We have selected the version first, but it is not allowing me to select any other level. Let's say elimination. I think they have done certain kind of settings in the accounts. Sorry, in the levels. Where is operations? This one is, I'm going to untick this, save this. Demo practice. It's visible in this sheet which we have built. I think it should be there. Let's just refresh levels. Why I'm not able to change our version of this page? No, let me try one more thing. It's not doing. Version selector available in version. Is it because of this? Demo. Let's check now. No, why it's not allowing me to change the level? Our levels are not only visible here. I don't think this tenant is allowing us to create because it is. Because we want to do the end data entry also in that sheet. Correct? Correct. It's like giving that. You can only use this level and this sheet. But I don't know why. Anything in versions. No, it's not. In expenses, are you able to change any other level? Let's see. It's still the same. Let's check for any other model. Let's check for workforce planning. Let's see if I'm able to change. Still no. Let's change the origin. Say forecast. No, it's not allowing me. What we can do is we cannot enter the data, but we'll have to practice from the existing sheets which are already built in. But it is always good if we can see what we have built. It does not make sense. Because we have completed the account. Sorry, the sheet creation. Everything is done. Only thing is, we just need to see that in the front end. Why it's not there? Is it because this user ID must be having only access to that level? Got it. What has happened is this is our profile. E. What has happened is we only have the access to this level. Oh, you mean that then the admin is supposed to give access to this profile to view our sheets? What we have. What I will do is I will roll this under operations. Let's do that. I will roll this under company operations and save this. Removing one or more sheets. We just added in one sheet only. We have it here in operations. Let's re-add it in the sheet. You can see it changed now. In order to change the level again, what happened? Once again, I need to click on edit. It's because of this, user only has the operation level access. Level availability. At the moment, I'll just keep it to all because it's, and otherwise I will have to select one by one again. Let's just refresh the page. We are in practice budget version. We have this. Finally, you can see. Now this was because this user only had the access to operations level, and in our hierarchy the level was outside operations. That's why we always require a power user admin, because such kind of security is not there. Otherwise it becomes, tell me one thing like, see this particular user now has assigned a company to himself or herself. No, we have only changed the role of structure. But still, don't you think it's a secure security lapse? I am just trying to understand. Suppose, sir, you are an end user and you have only access to Mumbai level, and I have access to everything in this screen. What do you think? This screen will be visible to you or visible to me only? What do you think this screen, this speech? This page is visible to everyone. No, it is only visible to me. It will not be visible to you. You cannot do anything. I actually meant this particular screen which has versions, devils, and dimensions accounts. Was that your question? I'll repeat my question. Suppose you have only access to Mumbai data, and I have access to all data, all countries, all cities, all stores. I am a modeling person. Basically, I have the rights to add levels. Suppose if there are 100 stores getting created more, I should have the access to this page. I can change it to anything, but can you change it? Can you do the same implementation? No. It is not, it controls the security. Basically, if there are 100 employees in the system, if you have 100 employees in the system, only 5 people will be admin access. Only 5 people will have the access to this kind of page where they will do certain changes and do anything like that. The remaining 95 people. The remaining 95 people will be only normal users who will have only the front end of the sheet, that this is the data for Mumbai. This is the data for Philadelphia and on. They will not have access to this. What we did, the changes that we did, that is only applicable for those 5 admin things. Like, since this profile has access to the level operation, we just tweak the company. I mean the levels, what we created and put it under operations. No, it's right, but the first sentence was wrong. Since this particular user is an admin, because you are having the access to modeling. The first thing is if you're having the access to modeling, that means you are an admin by default. But admin was restricted to one level, which was operations. That is how it was. The admin is not having the power of all the levels. The admin is only restricted to one level, but as a end user, you will have only one level access and you will not have the modeling access that is called an end user rights. This is your end users and they will not have your model management access. Admin users would be like basically those who got rights to view or just enter the data. Let's open the sheet which we built just now. This is the standard sheet and let's see how it is looking and we will see at the lowest level how we can enter the data. Perfect. It is exactly looking as this Excel file accounts is here. We have the time frame, we have the accounts. We have the January, we have the quarter also. It's popping out, but everything is gray here, right? What do you understand by this? Any idea why it is not allowing you to enter the data? Any guesses? That means you cannot enter data. You see, you cannot, or something. It is locked. But why it is locked? My question is why it is locked. It is an interview question. It is like you frequently ask that, can you enter data at a roll up level? The answer is no. This is a roll up level. Where can you enter the data? You can always enter the data at a child level. Can you tell me which is the child level here? Do you think we can enter the data in demo practice? Now can we enter the data in user? No, because you have some sub counter that can we enter in New York. Perfect. Once you click on store 106, because this is the lowest level and inside the lowest level only you can enter the data or you can write the data. Let's see if we can enter the data here. No, I don't know why. I think it's not the data. Is it because the user doesn't have the area access? He does not have the edit access also. Let's say we don't want the quarter, we don't want the year, and we don't want 524, we do it. How did I do that? I'll just show you. There is a display options feature here. Utilizing that display options feature, I limit it only to January to December. I remove the quarter. I remove this. We are not able to do edit entry. Let's skip this. I think because we will run out of time because we want to do cube sheet also. Its cube sheet is the same. Let's say we want to do expenses and we want to understand what are the other features in a standard sheet. Let's say I go. In which version? Was it top down? No, it was bottom up working budget. We got operations. Always remember that you cannot enter the data at a roll up level or a roll up account. It always has to be a child account or it always has to be a child level. Here only you can enter the data. You cannot enter the data New York and USA or Chassis. You have to choose the lowest data, lowest level and enter the data. Let's try to explore what are the functionalities other features here. This first, we will start with the blue context menu, the standard sheet. This is the height formula bar. By formula, you can see. If I just select one account, you can see this formula bar is there where it is highlighted. What is the formula used? What is the account? If you just hide this, it is not visible. It's just that feature. This is nothing but your formula assistant. You can write formulas in directly from the Excel file here. Similarly, in Excel file, how you write? You just open the sheet. You can write formula anywhere. You can write this into this minus this, like this, whatever you can. The sheet also in adaptive gives you override formula thing which we click. Click here and just right there and change the formula. Suppose you want to change this formula, you will do this. Since we don't have the edit access, we cannot do it. And now this is the save button. Basically, whatever changes you do in the template. If I do this view by level, I am swapping the access, save button will pop up. You can see you want this level to be saved for further purpose also. You just save it. But let's just save it. It's just a save button. Now I can do it by view or by account because I want it by view by account. Only the data is there in the system. If the people want it in this format and they want it in Excel, they are. You know there are certain people who are familiar with Excel file that it will take some time, to take 95 people to get accustomed to this particular tool in a quick time. It's very difficult, right? They are. What are they comfortable doing? They are comfortable in an Excel file. They will get the downloaded and exactly in the same manner it gets downloaded with the data. That's why this is given this add, split, split and delete, split and rename split. It's basically if you want to create one split option here. Basically, if you want to bifurcate the data, bonus 4918. Suppose there is 3 categories in bonus, 1, 2, 3, and you want to split the data. You can just click on this cell. You can add a split and create it. It's that way. Let's see if we have that option here. No, because it is grayed out. We are not able to edit anything in the sheet. We will not be able to use this option. But you understood the purpose why that these options are. Basically, let's assume like you have an account with the name bonus and you want to understand like what is a bonus. Yes, and cost centers, yes. Admin finance or something you want to have a breakdown here. Suppose this is the line item. Suppose you actually have used it back then. This allows you to give the bifurcation whatever you want. You love bonus and you get the system to delete this, to rename the name also. You just do it here 30,000, 15,000 and then 5,000. You just explain the split of the 50,000 the total is. This is the feature that you get in the standard sheet. This you can ignore because we don't use this copy formulas mode. Basically, it's two options, that is copy formulas mode and copy values mode. Whatever values and formulas are there, it's just copies. This is your reset to default view. What does this mean is, let's try to click here and see what happens. Basically, whenever you create a sheet, there is a by default view that should be reflecting to all the users. There could be. Suppose you logged in the system. You are doing certain changes in the sheet. You did deleted this. You removed the 520. You removed February 20. You removed May 21. And you save it. And once you come back and do this, that means everything is restored as it is. That's the feature of reset to default view. Now just save it. This is the default view which has been set by the implementer for this particular sheet. This we already studied. We will do it in detail. Let's go on this play option. First option you can see is the time, where you can select which time zone you want. If you want the 2022 also visible, click on this 2022. And if you want this view to be visible to all the user as default, you click on this checkbox. By this you mean all the users. We can see 2021 data and 22 data. What is this option? Suppress rows of zeros and ranks. Suppose this account salaries as wages is 0. There is no data in it. This will not be visible. If you select on this, if you're selecting this, it is not visible. Suppose I don't select this and I click on. The sheet will change and there could be certain accounts where there is no data. There is 0 data. We will be able to see. Let's see if there is an entire line item where it is 0. I think at the moment you can see this account, Canada office rent. There is no account. Let's say there is no value here, but it is still visible because you said that it should be visible. Let's go and let's suppress this. Once you click this, nothing will be visible. This Canada office rent below 6365. We will notice that this should not be visible. Got it. Let's see if it is visible below 6365. All the accounts got hidden because we have already suppressed it. I'll just save this. The next feature is the refresh feature, is basically just like a reload button. You can get it here also. It's just refreshing the entire page. This is nothing but your chart. I will show you this select. Suppose you want to search for telephone expense. I'm just going to write telephone and it directly pops out the thing which is highlighting the telephone. This is a search bar basically which gives you this. There is additional. I was talking about version comparison and spark lines. It's basically in an Excel file. When you get is my screen visible? Yes, in an Excel file. If you want to compare this with, let's say you want to compare this with the one column and this is January 21. Oh, 21. I want this 21. But this is your actual data and this is your budget version. In the screen itself, if you want to compare what happened in January 2022 and you want to compare it with 21, basically you plan it accordingly. Suppose in action it was 80 and that's how you plan it in budget. There is some background noise coming from. I was saying that if you compare in the same screen for every month, it gives you a comparison for every month, basically. This will have a Feb 21 here also, and this will be for the same. You get a version comparison. Basically got it this kind of thing. This adaptive allows you to have a version comparison where you can select the which particular year you want to compare to. Suppose let's try if it's working. I don't know if it will work. And let's say comparison version. I'm going to select as actuals and backward. Let's say 1 year, one comparison version. Let's say you would see if we get any comparison thing. There should there should be some data, and you can see you will see one data in gray and one data in our actuals. Now it is showing the same data. Let's change the thing again in version comparison working budget. Let's do this one. Select your 21. You can see now you have working budget. You have three comparison in one page. You can do two comparison also. You can do three comparisons also you. That's the maximum that the sheet can provide you at a time. If you want to compare actual budget and your focus in the same sheet, it gives you that kind of thing. Only thing you need to focus on how you can control the months by controlling the offset. Basically, by doing one and this, you can control the offset. As of now, it's offset year one. It's offset year one. If you do two and it will change. Basically, you need to control it that way. This is the feature that you get in a standard sheet. Now you can see 19, 20, 21. You get the comparison all the 3 years. Similarly, you need to make it logical that what exactly you need to compare with water. That's how version comparison is done. The next feature is your spark lines. Basically, spark line is nothing but it gives you the data. Suppose you want the data. You want a chart like what is the graph for that? It gives you a trend basically for telephone. This is the trend. You know you will see zoom and you will see the data. It is directly popping up and which version you want to see. If you want to see for actuals, this is the data. This is for actual. That is going like this. It gives you a feature. You have to do nothing in Excel file. What you will do, you will go in insert, you will add a chart, you will do this. But in here you just go and select the by default features. If you want to change the type of the graph, you just select this and you do it. And even that is possible. And you just open that sheet, that particular trend chart, and it is visible here also. It gives you everything in one particular template, whatever you want to do the changes. Any questions on the standard sheet? Because we covered all the features and functionalities of a standard sheet. We saw the roll up counts where you can enter the data, which version you need to select and all the properties of all the functionalities of the standard sheet and how you can save this. I have one doubt. Basically, like the doubt is with respect to, importing the data. For example, you have created your levels, the accounts, everything is in place. And the standard sheet, the outline, everything is in place. And now you want the data to be imported. How do we do that? Yes, we have a separate session for that, and it's a 2 hour session, I think. We would. I think we will cover this on Monday. I think it's on Monday. It's scheduled for Monday. Basically, there are two ways of data importing. One is the manual way and one is the through import template. We will do it both. But first we are seeing how we can create the sheet, and then we are seeing what are the features of that sheet. This is the sheet we built. Now try to answer a question. I am going to ask you, can you tell me which product did you sell here? In looking at the sheet, can you tell me which product did you sell? Which product? Yes, can you tell me which product did you sell? Suppose there is some sample data. Here is some sample data here, 1000, 2000. Imagine any numbers, imagine these accounts, and can you tell me which products did you sell? From looking at this sheet, only thing what I can tell you is there were certain products which were sold from store N06, but which product is? No, perfect, perfect, perfect. This is the challenge of a cube sheet. I will again ask you now, suppose there could be 10 salesmen in your company in this particular store. Can you tell me which salesmen to sold how many products? Can you tell me with that, with this data here? No, correct. That is where your cube sheet will come into picture. Now I'm telling you, these are my products category. I want to understand how many HP laptops were sold, how many Lenovo laptops were sold, how many OnePlus mobile were store sold, and how many iPhone were sold. What do you understand from this? You will create this as a dimension. You understood, you will create this as a dimension. Now again, I want to understand that how many products Alex sold. Alex is belonging to suppose New York store. How many products did Alex sell? Can I tell it from the standard sheet? The answer is no, but can I tell it from a cube sheet? The answer is yes. Yes, exactly, it is the same format. You can see it is the same format. I want the same template. Only thing I want is I want some dimensions to be added in the sheet that I can plan and see the data that how much sales representative have worked and how which type of product have sold. This is number of products sold in January is, but out of that 100, how many were mobiles? How many were touch? You know I want that kind of data. You are planning at that level, right? You want to know how many mobiles got sold. You want to know how many TVs got sold, correct? We will try to build this particular case study now that we complete the cube sheet also. What do you understand? This is fine. I was able to build the cube sheet, but this does not gives me further data, right? It does not gives me additional information which I really want to capture in the system. This is just giving me a top level data at the top level. It is just like a financial statements, income statement, your balance sheet. They are always preferred as a standard sheet because they don't need a dimension in that they need a top level data, correct? That's why you need to understand when to create a standard sheet and when to create a cube sheet. Let's say we want to build this structure. Now, what do we make sure? You know what? We said that we want this. We want this second. In a cube sheet, we require all this. Let's check if we have version. We have version already. We have accounts already. We have time. Already we have levels. Do we have dimensions? We need to check. Let's say I think we created a few dimensions yesterday related to products. We will use that. Let's go on dimensions. We will use product name too, or we will use this one. Maybe we have the product. Let's say I want to understand from this sheet how many product A were sold, how many product B were sold, and how many products C were sold. We will utilize this dimension in this sheet, correct? That will make us make a cube sheet in that. And another information I want to capture is how many salesperson sold how many products. I would say sales representative I need to build, or how many customers have purchased for which particular mobile. But let's say we want to build this. Do we have sales representative? No, let's quickly create sales representative. Inside sales, I would select new value. Let's write a Alex, save Alex. Save a new. Let's say Rafael, save a new, I want a female employee. Now let's write Julie for example. I will save this. This is done. Dimension is done. Let's try to build this sheet in a cube manner. I don't want this in a standard sheet manner. I want this in a cube manner. It is the same process. Where should you go? Level assigned sheets again. Click on level assigned sheets. You click on new sheet again. You have to choose the option correct here, which is your cube sheet. And now it is asking me to write the name, and it is again asking me something called as account code prefix. When you select standard, this account code prefix was not coming, but when you select cube or when you select model, this is coming. Any guesses why it is coming? Because what happens is in a cube sheet, you have separate accounts. As I said, that cube sheet, it's cube account. Cube accounts are there only inside a cube sheet. Model accounts are there only inside a model sheet. When you address the formula, the cube name is also there and the account name is also there. You will understand the formula writing in the formula session. But let's say I am going to write this cube practice like CIF and CIF cube. This is my prefix for this sheet. Let's do next. Now you will see the model will ask you for two things. One is your cube accounts creation and the second is your dimension attributes and levels. First, try to understand what should be there. Let's see how a cube sheet looks like. Similarly, you will build it. I think the cube sheet was product revenue. We will open a product revenue sheet. We are trying to build this sheet by adding dimension. You can see accounts is a version is, but you can see this is changed. I will just show you the standard sheet. Accounts is time is, version is. Only thing was levels was coming here in a standard sheet, right? But in a cube sheet, everything remains the same. Only thing the dimensions have been added here. This is a dimension, product is a dimension. Size and color is an attribute to the product. We have added two dimensions and the levels are coming here. Similarly, we need to create here. First you go and into this second column to add whatever things you want to show here. You can see this is the thing. You need to show levels. You need to show the dimensions. You need to show whatever attributes you want. That is the meaning of this. You got my point, what you are going to do here. Yes, by default, when you click on that, you can see time. Account level is there. These are three by default things which are coming automatically. You get to select which particular things you want to display. I want to display only month and year. I will only select month. I want to select accounts, but at the moment there are no accounts here. You can see everything is blank. That means you need to create accounts inside the cube sheet. We will do that. Levels, which levels? You want access. You want the access to given to all the levels at the moment. I selected all the levels here. If you want this particular sheet only visible to a practice version, practice demo level, you can do that also. What is the additional thing that is missing from the? You can see from here what? What is the thing that you want? You want version, you want account, you want time, you want level, you want dimensions. You can see time account level. Version is by default. you need not mention, but there is something missing. What is that? Dimension and attributes. How do you add dimensions? You select on the left-hand side. You click on the dimensions here. Which dimension you want to add? This is the dimension that you want to add, product. You add this product name here. You can see product axis. It's already selected for you, correct? You created one more dimension, which was sales representative. I just clicked on it and I just dragged it down here. This will also be visible here. Now I will save the model. I'm just saving this model and then I will go back here summary and I will go on the first option. Here you added the front end thing. Now you add the back end thing. Go in Cube accounts. You will see the entire thing is empty. Everything will be empty. Whatever accounts you created here were outside. Right, they were outside in the custom accounts. But can you use custom accounts in Cube accounts? The answer is no. You can use it. I will tell you the trick later on. But as of now, when you create a new Cube sheet, you should understand that Cube sheet functions in a different way. You have to create a separate account here. You will get an option here at Cube standard account and Cube calculated account. This is how you create. For example, if you want to build this sheet, this is a standard account. This is a standard account, but this is a calculate account because we are running a formula. For certain accounts, you will use the first option, which is a create new Cube standard account, but for calculated accounts, you use the second option, which is your create new calculated account. Let's build one by one. I would say I would click on the first option. I would just say copy pasted number of products. Number of products. This is an input. It's the same number and it is the same feature like an account which we did. Now notice this code section. What did we do? We created an account here, correct? Just like we did in a custom account. But what happened here? Do you see? Something has changed. Correct? Any guesses? Where did this come from? Chef underscore cubitis. This is that prefix for this particular cube sheet. Whenever you write a formula addressing this account, it will be having the entire code mentioned here, entire code for starting from the prefix and the account code. Similarly, we want to create another account. Now, I don't want a child account. I want you inside this. I want purchase price, quantity underscore, and you can import here also. It's the same thing which we will do, not worry. Let's take a currency for it and just save it. Now I want to add a calculated account. I want to write a formula. Which one I will use? I will use the second account. Second box, I will click on create new thing. What is the account? Which is total purchase price. It is this account into this account. Let's try this. This is also currency. And I am going to write 0 here as of now and just save it. I just want to see if it is working. Well, I will open the formula version to write the formula because don't worry, at the moment I'm doing it quickly, but the formula will have a separate section. What is the formula for this? It is basically this account into this account. I will double click on the first account into. Double click on this account. Can you read the syntax? It is act dot, which is this normal syntax of an account. Account this into account. It is addressing the account name here, and it is addressing the prefix of the sheet here, and it is addressing which account. It is basically one account into another account, and you just click on. But at the moment, it's not allowing me to save. Also, it's because of this. They have done certain changes. Let's try to change it in practice version. Practice budget. Alright, formula. We would do this in detail. This is advanced concepts of adaptive. At the moment, you just write. Understand how we can write a formula. This is the formula. This into this, do is and save it. This is how you will save the formula, and you have created this. Now let's see if we have completed the sheet or not. Is it reflecting here SafeQ practice? We have built practice sheet. We have built a cube sheet also. Let's say I'm going to open this here. Let's say it's visible here, right? SafeQ practice is there. Now you will understand what is the difference between this standard sheet that you built the same model and this standard sheet which you have just now built. I want the data only for 23 because I want it similar. Let's say 22 is for me. Can you notice the change? Yes, it is the same format, same format. It is exactly the same replica of this thing. Only thing is, we did not create all the accounts, but we can create all the accounts similar way, but the display remains the same. This is accounts here, time here, version here, and the levels are here. But here you can see levels here. But now, can you tell me how many products are sold? Yes, you can tell me. How you can tell me? You can just select the product name here and select the sales representative, correct? Let's jump to FX thing and just check if we can enter data here. At least I doubt we can. At the moment, this is not visible. Let's go in product, for example, and let's say product was sold by Julie, for example. Let's go inside Julie here because this is the lowest level. No, not yet. We want to see which store it is. It is, let's say in user Julie is working inside New York for store number 106. You are capturing the data at this level of intersection. At the moment, it is not allowing you to data enter. It's hiding it's not giving the, but can you notice this blue triangle again? What does this mean? It is nothing but your calculation calculated. Whatever data input you will be doing here, the calculations will be reflecting in the third one. This is the difference between a standard sheet and a cube sheet. Cube sheet. Whenever you want to do planning at a dimension level, you will make it as a cube sheet whenever you want. You don't want it to be a planning at any dimension. It is just a standard statement like a financial P&L or a balance sheet. You build it in a standard sheet format. You should understand when to build a cube sheet and when to build a standard sheet. Looking at this example, is this a doubt clear to you? Yes, yes. Now, if you want to do analysis on which color products were sold, how can you do it? You basically add the color attribute here. It's just simple. You go in again in this cube builder and there will be an attribute section where you might have been created an attribute for the color and it was a product name or product. I don't remember. I think product name, this color product. You add the color product here and just save it. That means from the sheet itself or in the report, you can understand which color products you sold it more. That's the understanding and the difference between a model sheet and a cube sheet. Sorry, in a standard sheet and a cube sheet, you can see the color is also visible. In the sheet itself, you can filter directly that. I want to understand how many pink phones were sold in this month. In this Excel, you get in Excel file what you do. You run the pivot and do everything. You filter, you have you do something filter here and give the data. But in here, you have to mention, you have to select. Basically, you need to understand that if you, whatever dimensions you entered here, you have to have that level of combination. Basically, here, what was the significance of 100? The significance of 100 was simple. It was a number of products purchased in the month of January for Bangalore level. But what is the significance of this 100? Any guesses? Uh, Basically, the units purchased during Jan 22, right? It is the same, but something will get added. It is basically a number of products purchased in the month of January. Let's say it was in New York, but this was a laptop product. A laptop product, right? It was a laptop product sold by Julie, and this was a, let's say, pink phone, pink. This level of data is captured in here. Every intersection, this data needs to be done. For Julie, for Alex, for Monica, all the levels, all the data will be different, and you need to record it in the system. You understand, for AV laptop, you need separate data. For Lenovo laptop, you need data in that. But in a standard sheet, it was all generalized. There was no bifurcation. There was no bifurcation. This is the difference between a standard sheets and a cube sheet. If you want, this exactly is the same. In a cube sheet, which I explained here only thing is you will not get the split option. Basically, there is one add row option. Basically, you can add an account directly here. If you want to create additional accounts, you can create here itself. At the moment, it is disabled because we don't have all the edit access here. Here also, you can do the spark lines and the thing. Display options will be there. The spark lines is there. It's the same thing. There are certain additional features here where you restrict the time, where you can restrict the accounts. Also, that suppose you don't want this account to be displayed, purchase price quantity, I will select, and then that account should not be visible in the sheet anymore. You can do it in the front end also. You can do it in the back end also. Let's see what is another feature, its levels. Basically, if you don't want this to be visible in any other level, you can just untick that and just that. Those levels will not be visible here in this sheet. That means they cannot see the data. They cannot enter the data. That is the only thing. Same goes with product. Same goes with the sales representative, and same goes with color. This display options gives you the feasibility to restrict the sheet from the front end. From the front end, and how you can do it from the back end. You go it here, and suppose I want to restrict from the back end that this sheet should only be visible. For this level, let's do it right now. Let's do it for Chief. It should only be visible inside store vendor 6. I will click here and I will click this. I will now refresh the sheet. The refresh button is here, and then you will notice that you are not able to select any other stores from Mumbai, any other stores from Bangalore. You will see here, you can see you. Can you notice anything any other level here apart from the store 1 and 6? Only thing is the parent thing, which is by default. It is given because you need to have a roll up level for store 1 and 6, which rolls up to New York, which rolls up to USA, and which rolls up to USA. What is that? New York only. I was coming to it. For every parent level, for every parent level in the hierarchy, only level is created. For New York, it is a parent level, only level is created. For USA, only level is created, and for this also only level is created. Now tell me why only level was not created for store 1 or 6. That was a child. That is a child exactly. This only level is only visible in the sheet and not anywhere else. If you notice, it is not visible in the levels. It is basically a given. You know, if there are certain kind of assumptions that are to be entered, to be entered at some kind of level. Basically, if you want the increment to be given for New York people and New York shows, you can use New York only, and that data is entered there. Usually that is not used. There is another way to tackle it, which is create a new planning level for New York and you enter. There are two ways to tackle that. But yes, for every parent level, one only level is created by default in Adaptive and which you can visible in the sheet. With this, we complete a standard sheet and a cube sheet. Any doubts in this? Any doubts with respect to standard and a cube? Nothing like that. No, it was clear. You understood the limitations of a standard. Now we'll try to understand the limitations of a cube sheet. Let's say you are building a salary model. You are building a salary model and there are 100 employees or maybe 1000 employees and 1000 employees. And whenever you notice a salary, you have a lot of columns, a lot of 58 columns. You know the IM columns you mean. I mean whatever there is there in the horizontal axis. Basically, sometimes it is there. What is the set? Catches break broken down. What is fixed? You know what is fixed. Then what is your variable component? You know what is your bonus, right? What is your address? What is your date of birth, right? Are you getting the point? Or what we are trying to capture? Yes, yes. Now tell me, looking at this sheet, can you capture the date of birth of Julie? No, can you capture when, at what particular time this or date this product was sold? The product. Can you capture the date? Can you write any remarks here? Can you write any text like, Julie sold this product to somewhere, like this? Can you write any description? Nothing there, nothing now. Just note down all this sum because you will have to tell in the interview also that why cube sheet is limited. You cannot add a date column, you cannot add a description column, and there is also limitations that suppose there are 14 to 20 dimensions that you need to add in a sheet. Can you do it in a cube sheet? The answer is no. In a cube sheet, there are very limited number of dimensions that you can add. That is that the number is 10. You cannot add more than 10 dimensions here. As soon as the requirement comes from the client that I require a lot of columns, I require a lot of dimensions to be captured. I require address field. I require date column because I want to know when that particular company person has joined the company, When he has the company, what is the date of birth of that person? What is the address? What is the salary? Those columns. You can just imagine what is the salary structure, salary data looks like for any organization. The data is very huge, and in terms of rows also. It can be 1,000, it can be 1 lakh also. It can be a lot of data. There is a restriction in this particular cube sheet which you cannot fulfill, and that's why a model sheet comes into picture, which we will do it tomorrow. To answer to your question, you should understand the difference between a standard sheet and a cube sheet, and then you need to understand the difference between a cube sheet and a model sheet. Does this help now? Yes, yes. This is the reason why I wanted you to focus that how you can build a standard sheet first, a cube sheet first, and then it will be very easy to understand the difference between cube and a model sheet. The most important difference between a cube and a model is the number of dimensions that you can have do perfect, correct, and the date columns is also important because you require that date column in many things. I will quickly show you one example of a model sheet where you will see how dates are even captured. I think workforce planning can be one. Let's see if we have any data in that. You will see data columns are also there. I will just click on operations. It is just like a customization thing. Whatever people can do in Excel file. Each and everything. They can change to columns also. They can change to this also. I will have to change your work budget also. I hope today's session was also clear for you with respect to standard and cube. We would do an exercise later on when we do the import template. And you can see. Now we have the data for workforce planning. Now you just see the number of columns. It can be anything. The number of columns can be as number as they want. And then you have the date column also. Then you have the comments column also. The people can write anything here. Then you can have percentage columns also. You can have normal number columns also. You can add number of dimensions here, and you can have n number of rows also here. There is no restriction on that. This is what we will try to build tomorrow when we study model sheet in detail. Now we close the session for today with this shift. Practice a cube sheet and the standard sheet. Today, our focus is on model sheet, which is the third type of sheets that you can build in Adaptive. One is a standard that you have already saw, and second is the cube, which is there in the screen. Now, why third sheet is required? I wanted to make you understand with the comparison with cube sheet. What happens is in a cube sheet, let's say you want to capture the date of birth of sales representative, or you want to capture the date of sale of that particular product. Can you capture those level of information here? Because the answer is straight away no, because the data is going to look like this. It's only being in a number format in a standard sheet and in a cube sheet. It is only in a number format. But if you want to capture date of birth, if you want to capture some kind of comments, if you want to capture some additional information which is representing this particular account, that's why it is a limitation in a standard sheet. It is a limitation in a cube sheet, and this kind of limitations are completed in a model sheet. That's why there are three types of models given to you. You decide which type of a model will suit which type of a requirement. Again now, one of the major interview questions, or you can say what are the frequent questions that have been asked, is the comparison between cube sheet and a model sheet. What is the basic limitation is you can add only 10 dimensions in the sheet. In a cube sheet, you can add only 10 dimensions. Suppose if there is a model where there are like 50 dimensions that they are capturing, the users are capturing 50 dimensions or even 40-30 dimensions. Can you input those many dimensions or level of information in a cube sheet? The answer is no. That's why, in order to fulfill that requirement, third type of models are built, which is called a model sheet. Third type of sheet covers all the limitations of standard sheet and a cube sheet. You can also enter dates here. You can also enter comments. You can also have text selector options. You can enter more than 10 dimensions. You can enter more than 10 attributes. There is no restrictions on the number of columns. There is no restriction on the number of rows. You can have 30,000 rows. You can have 1 lakh rows. You can have 3 lakh rows. There is no limitations on the number of rows. There is no limitation on the number of columns also. Only thing is you need to make sure that the data is concrete and you don't enter the data which is not useful for the client anymore. You need to understand these 50 columns are there. Out of those 50 columns, 40 columns are mandatory. They require. You can enter 40 columns here in this sheet, but in a cube sheet it is not possible because it's like a pivot file or in an Excel file. It gives you a restrictive number of columns, restrictive number of dimensions. And that's why to work on this kind of feature, you need a model sheet. The classic example of a model sheet, I can say that every company will have a salary data in the organization. There could be salary data captured for 100 employees. Whenever you capture salary information, there could be a lot of columns that are required in an Excel file. If you consider a normal simple Excel file, you will have these many columns, right? There will be an employee. What is the name of the employee? What is the level he is working at? Is he working for Mumbai level? Is he working for California level? Is he working for Philadelphia? You need that level of understanding, right? Is he male or is he female employee? What is the date of birth of that employee? What is the time that he joined the organization? You know what time he left the organization. You want to capture all kinds of information related to the employee in that sheet, right? What department he is working, what type of contract he has, whether he is a full-time worker, whether he is a part-time worker, and similarly, if he has an annual pay like a normal employee or if he has only hourly basis payment. You can capture all kind of data and then you can capture basic salary also, variable salary also, if he is applicable for any kind of a bonus, you can do, and then you can also add certain comments for that employee that this particular employee worked hard somewhere, like that, or any kind of comments. You can also mention your address of the employee. When you see and look at the columns, there are columns where you are entering numbers. There are columns where you are entering text field. There are columns when you are entering dimensions also. And there are columns where are entering you and that we are entering dates also. In a model sheet, you can enter anything. There is an option of text selector also. We will be studying all these kind of options, how we can use each option in our model sheet. But in a cube sheet, the only possibility is about numbers and about dimensions. You cannot do text, you cannot do date, you cannot do text selector in cube sheet or in standard sheet. These are the differences between a model sheet and the cube sheet. Also dimension. There are no restrictions or in terms of the number, but in a cube sheet there is a difference that you can only add 10 dimensions at a time in one particular model. Here in this sheet, if there are 50 more columns in this particular data, I am with it. We can build as many columns as that. there is no restriction, there is no problem. If there are 1 lakh 1 million employees, there is no problem. You can maintain and work across all the salary for all the employees. Obviously, this data is secure. How you can this particular sheet as a secure sheet for only applicable for few users, you will study that later. But yes, that kind of before even going into that, you need to understand what type of model needs to be built for certain requirements. Now we are going to build one model sheet in Adaptive, and we will have these columns mentioned in there. And then we will build certain model accounts in the sheet that we understand that how the front end of the model sheet looks like and what needs to be done in a back end of the model sheet. Before we go on to the creation, I would like to show you one example of a model sheet. I will click here. I will try to open one model sheet again, how you can understand which type of model you. I will go from start. What you need to do is you need to go into model management. You can see this sheet section is there. We have level assigned sheets. If you click on level assigned sheets, you will get all the sheets which are built in back end of the system. You can see the name of the sheet is written here. The type of the sheet is written here. By this you understand which type of sheet is your P&L. Now you can see this particular column and you can notice that model is workforce planning. Model is hardly workforce. You can just open any of the sheet just to look how this workforce planning is looking. Let's open workforce planning, for example. I'm going to open the front end of the workforce planning. Let's say I'm going to choose operations. I need to change the version. I think I'll do that. I'm going to change the version that we get some data. I will use working widget. Can you see some data popping up here? These are nothing but your rows access where you're planning workforce, and there are certain employee names written here. There is a title for every corresponding employee, and then there are certain columns. You can see comments. They are mentioning certain comments for that particular employee. Then there is a start and end date for that employee. It is a hourly based payment. It is also written. You can just look at the columns that they are capturing here. You can see they have written increment date also, that from this particular date these employees are eligible for increment and what is the increment rise. They can also mention that even percentages accounts. Percentages numbers can be also inputted in a model sheet. Similarly, pay rate, and this is nothing but your text selector. I will just show you. Just keep scrolling and you will see. You can add as many columns here, and it is just nothing but your mass data or a mass Excel file that you can notice in certain organization where they follow to record certain data. And basically model sheets are more favorable in the workforce planning thing. All kind of workforce planning, all kind of sales territory planning, you know, these kind of models are always handled in a model sheet because they cannot be handled in a standard sheet and a cube sheet because there is a lot of percentages, account, lot of date columns, lot of comments, columns that they need to use in the system. All you can see is everything in the data, and there is also salary bonus, and then you have the time span also, which is flowing. This is, you can have n number of columns, you can have n number of rows here. This is how a model sheet will look. It is basically like a transactional dump file for you guys, and it will be row wise import in the model sheet. Now just look at the three sheets. This is a standard sheet, this is a cube sheet, And this is how a model sheet looks like. You should be familiar. Like the moment you open the front end of any sheet, you should be able to say that this is our transaction wise data. This is a model sheet. Now, if you open this kind of sheet, you notice that there are no dimensions here, only accounts, and time is there. That is a standard sheet. Similarly, if you open a front end of the cube sheet, the first thing you should notice whether there are certain dimensions or attributes added. The moment there is dimension, you will notice that this is a cube sheet. This is how you should be very, very familiar with the instance. The moment you open anything from the front end, you should be able to understand what type of model it is. There is no requirement for you to go there and do this. At the moment, for me, it is not required. Only thing is, I wanted to explain you that how you can do the back-end work where you understand what type of model is this. Let's try to test one thing. I'm just open to 3 sheets. Let's say I'm opening vendor contracts. Let it open. I think it's loading. I will change the version for you also. Just give me a moment. I will change the version. I will write it as working budget. Once again, I need to change level top. It's a model sheet. The moment you see, notice this particular column. It says description. That means they are writing certain things here. They are writing certain things and then they are capturing all kind of data. That means they need an additional column to capture this. Vendor might be a dimension. They have added the dimension and then there is level. Why this is not a cube sheet? Because the cube sheet looks like this. We have the dimensions popped out here at the blue section and the white section here. If you look at the vendors, there is nothing here. How does a standard sheet look? Standard sheet looks like this, but there is no column extra apart from the account, but there is directly data. Vendor contracts. You can see this is row-wise data. You just scroll down. This is all row-wise data that is being captured. That's why this is a model sheet. Let's try another one that you can guess it correctly for the next time. Let's say I open Raman data. Maybe let's see what is this kind of sheet. Whenever you want to answer anything, if this is a model sheet, then you should answer why this is a model sheet. Don't answer such things that there is nothing like this dimension in a cube. That's why it is not. If I have to answer the question to this, I would simply say that this is row-wise data. I can see date columns here. I can see percentages here. I can see a number of dimensions. This is the correct way of answering the question. Why this is a model sheet? Straight away. You can see a lot of row-wise data, a lot of columns, a lot of dimensions, and especially the date columns. Looking at the date first of all, like this you should make it very instant that yes, this is a model sheet. And if you answer only because this is a date column, it is still right because it is having a date, exact date captured. It is a model sheet. Let's do one other one. Last one, let's see if let's say project profitability planning, I'm going to open. This is also same. I think a lot of model sheets are built here. Let's try one more. What type of sheet is travel? This also might be a model sheet because there will be travel dates captured here. Yes, travel date is there. It is a model. But this is pretty much it, the difference you need to understand. Whenever you open any sheet, in the front end, you should directly say that this is standard sheet. In a cube sheet, you will find dimensions listed down. In a model sheet, you can see date, column, description, and a lot of rows, a lot of columns. It becomes very easy for you to understand and identify. What type of sheet is this? Let's try to build now a cube sheet. Sorry, a model sheet. Now let's build a model sheet. How to build? You just go to modeling, go to level, assign sheets, and then click on new sheet. This is, by default, a feature that comes where you have to mention the name. I'm just going to write here CF model sheet salary. We are building a salary sheet. And what type of sheet is this? I'm going to select model sheet. It gives you three options. The moment you select model, something changes. If you select standard, you do not get a prefix option. But if you select a cube, you get an account prefix option here, and similarly, if you select on model, you also get an account prefix option. This is nothing but a code given to your sheet. It is like a small code which is given. Basically, it's like CF model. I'm using this as a code, this as a prefix for this particular sheet. Whenever you will address the accounts of this sheet, the prefix will have this thing mentioned in it. You understand from the back end also that yes, these accounts belong to this particular sheet because of the prefix that we are just using. Account code prefix will only exist for a cube sheet and a model sheet. It will not be mandatory or used for standard sheet. Now you get two options here, create new sheet, a model, and you have to select as a blank because we want to build everything from scratch. Suppose you select anything from that, all the data, or all the functionalities or dimensions, or you know the format will get copy pasted based on the three models which are by default coming here. Always select in the drop-down blank model sheet as an advance. Whenever you create this, a blank sheet will be created. What is this option? We will do at the end of the session. It's basically cloning the existing sheet. It's like doing a duplicate of that same sheet. We will do that. But how we are going to create a new sheet from scratch? We are learning that process now. This is the first step. You write the name of the sheet and the code of the prefix that you want and then create as a blank. I'm just going to click on next now because the first step is completed. And then it gives you to a page where you need to do two things. One is your model account, one is your columns and levels. Basically, in the workforce planning, do you see all the things in the front end, all the things you in the front end, all of this? These are nothing but your columns and levels. If you want to add name, title, residence, come and start. Where will you come? Where you will click on these columns and levels and add those things. Whatever you want in the front end of the sheet, you have to come here in columns and levels. Whatever in the front end it is there. Whatever in the back end you want it should be mentioned in the model account. What do I mean by back end? Let's go to your workforce planning sheet and I'm simply going to right click on any row. Let's say I'm clicking on Paul here. I'm doing right click. Can you see one option is coming as row details? When you do a right click, a row details option comes and a separate window opens up. When the separate window opens up, you will see certain accounts popping up here. It's calculating something in the back end that there are certain accounts. It is calculating the head account FT, salary bonus, everything. You mentioned it in the columns also, but it needs to be also addressed in an account. We will study why that is mandatory. You can see all when you do right click. All types of accounts can be calculated here, and you will have the time span automatically popped up. When you do right click, you will see accounts, and when you just open the front end, you will see all kinds of dimensions and columns. Let's try to build this sheet, which is our example for today. I want these many columns to be there. What is what? How many columns I want? I want 14 columns in my model sheet, and some of them should be date, some of them should be dimensions. I will write down what type is this that you get familiar with it. Employee name. I want this as a dimension because I want to do analysis by employee wise. Level is nothing but your level in the hierarchy which you have already built. Gender, attribute to your employee name, attribute to your employee name. I will write it like this because this belongs to your employee date of birth. This is nothing but it is simply a date column. I need this as a date department. I want this to be a dimension because I would be doing a planning based on which department, how many employees we have for IT department, how many employees we have for HR department. I want to do analysis on that pay basis. I would say I will use this as a text selector just to show you how this works. Suppose you as an organization, you don't want to plan it by department wise. Suppose you just want it for analysis. Then you make it as an attribute. It is completely flexible. It depends on the requirement and then it depends on the implementer. If the requirement is such that they want to know they are going to capture the data by a department also, then you will be creating it as a dimension. And if they say that they are doing the tagging directly to the employee name, and he is also already assigned in the backend, that this employee only belongs to that department and as a one-to-one relationship, then it becomes an attribute because it is only analysis. But sometimes that employee can be shifted to other department also correct. In that case, it cannot be created as an attribute. It has to be your dimension. Suppose now you belong from a finance background, you are in a finance team, but after 6 months you are going to be shifted to some other department. Your planning will change. The department planning will also be changed. And if they want to do department-wise planning, every particular company functions in a different way. If they want to do that, from finance team, 50 people left the job, 60 people were hired. If they want to do such kind analysis, that means they are doing that planning at department level. But if they only want to do analysis or reporting type of work, then you don't require it to be created as a dimension. It can be attribute, it can be dimension. And then contract type. Let's say I can create this as a dimension again because they want to understand how many full-time people are there, how many part-time people are there, and how much money they are spending on full-time workers, how much money they are spending on part-time workers. Basic salary is nothing, but you're entering a number. This is also number. Bonus is also number. Comments is nothing but your text. Column address is nothing but your text column. I would say raise percentage. I want. To this particular employee, I would say this is a percentage percent. Then I would say raise date, what type of date he will be getting the increment from. Let's build all these things that we cover all kind of features in a model sheet. You have the columns now, and then you have the type of the column that needs to be there in the system. Let's try to build this. Now we were here. If you want anything in the front end, where you will go? You will go in columns and levels. Just click on columns and levels. By default, you see one feature is there which is levels. This means that this sheet should be accessible to each level. You can have that control over here. If you think that this only should be applicable, this sheet is only visible to, let's say, only to Philadelphia. I will come here in USA and I will only select Philadelphia. That means this sheet, the sheet which you are building right now, it is only for the salary of Philadelphia people. This is the way of controlling the level structure here. Now can you say that? Will this sheet be visible in UK or India or Australia? The answer is no, because here you have made the control that it should be only visible and only Philadelphia employees' data should be captured here, controlling the access of that particular sheet by levels. But usually I will keep this as for all because I am building it for everyone. I will simply click on this top level checkbox that all the levels are selected here. Now how I am going to build the model similar to this? I have to do drag and drop. Basically, it is simple. Once you have done the dimensions, you have created the dimensions, you have created the attributes. You just need to do drag and drop. Basically, let's see if we have employee name first in the system or not. Where are we going? We have 4 options here: data entry, dimension, attributes, and display. What is the first type that you want? You want employee name. Let's say I want to go in dimensions and you have this employee name. What I will do? I will just click on this employee name, drag it here. Now, what is the second column that you need to add? Your level is already added. It was by default mandatory. We skip. Let's say gender. Gender is an attribute to an employee. Let's see if in attributes we have gender or not. Which type of employee or which type of dimension? We have added employee name. Let's say we have gender here or not. There is nothing coming in inside gender here, inside employee. That means there is no gender created for your employee. But you can see there is created for sales representative because I think we created it. I think we created it for someone. Let's see. If not, we will have to create it from backend now. Let's first check employee name attributes. If there are any attributes belonging to employee, there are no attributes. Let's check for sales representative. There is nothing. Let's try to build for employee name. How do you do that in backend? You just go to modeling, you go to dimension attributes because this is an attribute to a dimension called employee name. Inside employee name, you will create a gender. I'm going to write here gender and I will just save this. Inside gender, I will create 2 attribute values. One is male, say a new one is female. I have created this male and female as an attribute, but do you think that in the system it is captured? that who is male and who is female. Is that level of information already captured? Now, what is that called? It is called as a dimension tagging. You need to perform that exercise also before moving in that sheet because this is a 1:1 relationship, right? Employee name in the tagging, you will see that all of them are male. You need to do that tagging. Where you can do the tagging should be here. Once you do the tagging, then only the system is capturing that. I have it in the system that this is a male gender at the moment. Can you see Ronaldo? Let's click on Ronaldo, maybe. At the moment. No, right, because you haven't tagged it. You will have to do that tagging. Since it is a 1:1 relationship, you will have to make sure that all kind of data is there in the system. Let's now. I will have to refresh this page. I will just save it because now it will not reflect. You just now created the attribute, right? That's why you will have to refresh the page once on the model builder. Let's say employee name attributes. There should be gender now, correct. You have to drag and drop the gender here. That means this gender is an attribute to employee name. It's already there. In the type you can see, this is a dimension and this is the dimension attribute. Now you have 3 date columns in a line. Date of birth, joining termination, and also you have raised it. We will do that later. Now you have to click on back to elements. Now you need a date, column right. You need a date type. You don't need a dimension, you don't need an attribute. You don't need these two right. What is the last option, which is your data entry columns? You have to click here and you will notice that there are certain options, certain additional functionalities that the model sheet is offering you to enter in the system. It can be a text field, it can be a number, it can be a date, it can be a text selector, it can be time span, it can be checkbox also. All kind of functionalities. You can add it in the system. Now, what do we want? We want 3 date columns to be added. Correct, we want 3 columns. I will click on date. I will drag and drop here. I will click on date. I will drag and drop here. I will click again. There are 3 dates added here. Now I will simply just copy paste whatever it has written here. That's it. That's the thing I will do. Date of birth. It's showing an error. Code must be entered. You always should mention it as an underscore because it is a good practice to do. Date of joining. I will do copy paste. You will enter a name and then here. Similarly, I will enter this also. Now we have to move into department. Let's see if we have department created in our adaptive. I think we did not create department, but maybe we can use function as this example. Let's use the existing dimension which is already created. I would add function here instead of this. I will just replace the name to function that you guys will not confuse. Now what is the pay basis? I want it as a text selector. Sometimes text selector can be yes or no. Yes or no it can be. It can be hourly based, it can be yearly based payment, any kind of options. True or false kind of thing. Also, such kind of options are there in adaptive where you get that you don't want to do. You don't want to create it as a dimension. It is not an attribute, definitely, because the values will keep changing. Some people will have yes, some people have a no, some people will have a true, some people will have a false. You know. That's why in such cases, text selector is used. Text selector also. You can see in data entry columns, we have a text selector here. If you drag and drop text selector, you will notice that there is a name, there is a code. But there is also certain thing added here with where you need to add values. Let's do one thing, just copy paste this pay basis. And now what I will do is, I will create two values here. What are the values? One is your hourly and annually. I create two values here, hourly add. It's just simple. It's simple to build that even the end users can build this kind of sheet. But usually only the implementers will have an access to the sheet. You know, it's simple. You just have to drag and drop what kind of elements you want in the model. This is your builder. This is your elements available in the system. You just drag and drop. If you want to create certain additional things, then you go back to basics and build the basic building blocks here first. Only then it reflects in the model builder. Now contract type. Do we have this as a dimension? The answer is no, I don't think. We have a contract type. Let's create a simple dimension again, a contract type. It can be dimension, it can be attribute, it can be text, it can be text selector. Again, the key is with the implementer and the requirement. Basically, if the requirement says that the company needs to do planning, needs to do analysis at a full time level, at a part time level, if they want this level of information to be captured, then you can have it as a dimension. It is a very good interview question that what will happen if you make this as a text column? If you make certain things, not just contract type, let's say if you make employee name as a text column, what will happen if you make this as a text column? What will happen? You cannot use it for planning. What you are not able to do is you are not able to do planning and you are not able to do any kind of analysis. I'll just explain you how a text column looks. We will do that. Let's drag and drop a text column. I'm just going to write the address of this address of the employee. It didn't ask anything, but in a text selector, it was asking you to enter values. A text selector gives you the option to the end user to select only between these two. Text is nothing but just a normal thing. You can enter a lot of alphabets. You just go there and type anything like a remark section. You can type anything. You can write an essay also in there. There could be a character limit. I don't know. But it gives you the privilege to write anything in that. But will it make sense if you want to do analysis on the comments or address section? City can be a dimension, address can be a text. That's why if you want to do any kind of planning, I will write it here, planning or reporting or analysis. Never use it as a text, never. If you have any kind of purpose, any of this, you should always utilize any other feature other than text. It is asked frequently in interviews, at least for the if you select one particular thing as a text and you are not able to do analysis. The answer is you have to delete that as a column and you have to create it again as a dimension or as an attribute or as a something you know to do. Analysis. You cannot do this kind of thing. If it is a text, and if it is a text selector also, by the way, you cannot do it. You cannot do planning on if it is a text selector. Only thing is, you get it in the formula, you get it in the sheet. I will just show you how the text selector looks like, but it is different to what I mentioned. Let's try to build the remaining columns quickly. We have the address of the employee. Let's say I'm going to add, where are we? We were creating contract type, right? Contract type. We was creating inside contract type. I want two values. One is your part-time. I will use code underscore here and I will use full-time time. I have two types of contracts. I'll save it here. Once you have created in the backend, you again go in the model. I will just refresh the page that it is reflecting the new contract type dimension. You can see it's there. You just simply pull it here. Contract type, we have done this. Now we have to add all these numbers. We are computing the salary. Basically, we are registering the salary here. Again, where do you go? You go to data entry columns where you are seeing the number. I will just drag and drop number 3 times. In the first, I will write here as the basic salary, 6 salary. Can you see this display? As here is also there. Currency percent. Suppose there is a percentage number. You select percentage. If there is a currency, then currency. At the moment, basic salary is a currency. You have to do this currency. Here again, I would say variable salary. Whatever level that particular employee is being tagged to, that currency is applied here. Bonus is also a number and it is a currency. We have done this. We have a date column also. That increment date is there. I would write it here, raise date, that from this date this employee is going to get certain hike. Again, that is a number. I would write it here, raise percentage raise. You would never insert a special character in a code. You should always write something like this. If it is a percentage account, you should create something like this underscore pause that it symbolizes that this is a percentage thing. Here you will select percentage because this is a percentage account that you are capturing. In the end, you can just write simply comment section for the end user to enter any comments. Let's try to just edit this sheet. For example, let me save this. I am going to see if I am able to edit the workforce planning. I will go to workforce planning. I will go to columns and levels. I will check for the type here, which is number. Let's say number. We have this commission target. I will say show bottom at show total at bottom, and then I hope this is currency. Yes, this is currency. This is a pay percentage. I don't want the total anyway. Or per week. No, it's a number. I don't want the total. We will check for this particular thing, commission target, how it is reflecting. Let's try to save it. In commission target, you can see this is the column, commission target. But now at the bottom, you are not able to notice any total. What I will do, I will just refresh the page. Yes, can you see at the bottom? It's basically advisable only for currency accounts. If you do the percentage total, it will show something off. It's never advised for certain accounts. But yes, for currency numbers, you can have a total here that whenever they select a particular level, they will get the total there itself. I think I can just explain you what are the features on the blue context menu which you see in the screen. This is nothing but your formula bar. You can see there is a formula bar written here. It just hides that and collapses. Basically hide and collapse feature that you can see. It is clearly visible in a cube sheet. For example, there is a calculated account somewhere. Let's try to open a new cube sheet. Maybe that it is much more clear. There is expense with trend. This is. I need to understand which is a model sheet and cube sheet. Let's say product revenue. I will open product revenue instead. There is no calculated account. Anyways, you can see certain value popping out here. If this is a formula written in this particular cell, formula will be reflecting. You can just hide that bar and collapse whatever it is. Similarly, this is a formula system. If you want to write a formula for this particular account in this cell, you just simply click on this and write a formula. At the moment, the tenant we have got this particular user which we are using it does not have an edit access. We are not able to do or write formulas or enter data in the sheet. That's why we were facing issues on the sheets which we built to enter the data. We could not be able to see how the data can be imported in the sheets. This is a save button. Whatever changes you make in the sheet, you have the save button. This is a download button. If you want to download the exact values in an Excel file directly from the tool, you give it as a download or a printable view. Basically, all the values, all the columns will be downloaded. Once you have the tenant, you can download from it, you can see printable view, and you can notice what is exactly the changes in both the options. Whenever you have the instance, you should do certain kind of analysis by yourself that if this option is used, this happens. If this option is used, this happens. It's basically a just a hands-on practice for you for all these features. Similarly, this is a add row and delete row option. Since we are not able to edit this, you cannot add or delete any row. But suppose you want to add certain rows here. If there are certain employees that you want to add, you can create an add row and just create that entry here. And then this is copy formula mode and copy values mode. All the formulas will be copied, basically. And this is a display option setting in a model sheet. Whatever you see, first is the time. Basically, it's a default and it tells from start to end. It is taking the working version. Whatever you mention in the version settings, it is going to capture. Basically, in the version settings, if you notice for this, these three things will be enabled from 2020 to 2022. That's why in this sheet, you are able to select those things. If you want quota, if you want here, you can just simply click here and enable them. Also, if you want to deselect all the FI20, you just click on this. All the things will be deducted. If you want to make whatever changes you want and set it as default for all users, you just click on Set as Default and click on. Once you click, it will ask you for saving the changes that you made to the sheet because it is only changing the appearance of the sheet. You are not changing any data, right? There is a difference between changing the data and changing the appearance of the sheet. Changing the appearance, you don't require edit access, but changing the data, you require the edit access. Here it's only about the appearance, and there are certain additional features in a model sheet also. Let's cover that. If you click again on display options, if you go on filter rows, basically it is nothing. But whatever you do in an Excel file, if you click on this, you use this filter option, right? And if you want only something, some values coming up, you just use that. It's similarly a filter option given to you that you just display. Display begins with maybe. If I want to select that, if I want the rows to be displayed where the name is starting with the I letter, if I click on, you will see that only name starting with I will be reflecting. Similarly, all kinds of filters are there. You know you can end with contains does not equal whatever you do in an Excel file. It's basically giving you that functionality in the model itself. You need not to download and do all of the things. Whatever you do in an Excel file for the n number of rows, you can do it here, right? It's a good feature. Suppose you want to understand how many commission target is. You know less than say 1000. Let's say this much value. You can just add this and you will be getting those rows where the values are less than the mentioned thing in the filter. You can do all kind of filters options in the model itself. You don't have to download and do everything. You can just save it with using this filter option. What are the other hide column feature? Basically, if you don't want this end date, if you don't want this any kind of allocations, you can just simply select the columns. I have built it in the system. I have built it in the back end, but I don't want in the system to reflect in the front end. Let it be in the back end. Whenever needed, I will enable it. Whenever needed, I will disable it. Now you will see the ended column is not there, only start date is there. You can do all kinds of things in a model sheet. I will just save this. This is nothing but a refresh button. It's basically refreshing the page. Whatever changes you made, you just refresh it. This is nothing but a search. If you want to search by United Kingdom, let's say it will directly pop out to those rows where United Kingdom is mentioned in the data. Or you can see in this residence for tags, all the data belonging to United Kingdom is directly given the search. You can use the filter. Also, you can use the direct search option. It gives you both the functionalities here. This option is a reset to default view. If I click on reset to default view, let's see what happens. It will make all the settings change to a default view, which was initially set by the implementer. By doing this, the initial view is like this. I will just do save, you can notice. As this is the initial view and this is the reset to default view feature. In this column, you can see there is one section of hidden column. If you double click or expand, I wanted to see if that comes up. It's not coming, it's coming. It gives you a feature directly from the sheet also to display the hidden columns. I don't know if it's visible. Otherwise, you just go here and deselect the end column and just save it. Similarly, in a cube sheet also, there were certain parameters different. The only thing difference was there is a change dimension parameter in a cube sheet. We have dimensions here, we have levels here, we have accounts here. Whenever you notice that you have to do one at a time, right? Suppose you want to jump into India level, jump for customer 2, jump for product A2 and size. If you want to do changes, you go here, you do one at a time and the sheet reflects. The sheet changes. You do one change and the sheet is reloading, you notice. Suppose you want to make selection in one go. How do you do that? You just click on change dimensions. You can select customer. I want customer A2, customer 2. I want another country. I want Canada. I want product A2. And I want size only a small, and then it's just only one click that would the entire reload and all the parameters would change. They're saying that there is no data for this kind of selection. You can select any other selection to have certain data. Basically, for this intersection, there is no data in the system. It is just this feature that is extra in a cube sheet. In a model sheet, we have the same features similar to a cube sheet in the context menu. All of these are same. You can see this row this. Sorry, this is a standard sheet. Just cancel this. All the features, save button, printable view, all these are same and it is same. For this only thing, certain things will be different because a model sheet behaves in a different way. A cube sheet behaves in a different way. Now let's try to see what is the sheet that we have built. We have built this particular sheet, and what I will do, I will just click on done here. I will just click on done. I will see if this sheet is created. You can see at the bottom my sheet is created with the name CF Model Sheet Salary. Let's go in Sheets Overview. This one is our sheet, which we have built for. There is no data here, and I will see if I am able to enter data for Store Unknown 1, which we created. You can see this add row. I am not able to add or delete rows, right? But the columns which we require, they are already popping out the same order which we created. The columns is there, but now you need to enter certain data here, correct? Once you enter that data, you will have all the things populated just like an Excel file. All the Excel file data will be populated here, one row, the other, and you will have the columns also populated, the dates also captured for individual levels. Basically, levels are coming here and all the employees belonging to store under 1, the data will be reflecting here, correct? Similarly, workforce planning was done in a similar way. Once the sheet was built, only thing was visible, these columns. Then they added one row at a time, or they did a direct import template approach where they can import 54 rows in one go. Similarly, what we will do, we will create a similar sheet in my demo tenant and we will quickly create sample data and we'll quickly import certain at least 50 employees data we can import, or at least 5 employees that you can understand how you can manually upload the data and how you can do it by an integration import way. This is how the sheet is looking for you in a model sheet and the data will be reflecting later on. We have built 3 types of sheets. I will open the third one. Also here you will notice the changes. This was the second sheet. CF Practice Revenue Sheet is your standard sheet. CF Cube Practice is your cube sheet where you have the dimensions here. And CF Model Sheet is your model sheet where you have columns and then you have dates, date columns, and then once you enter the data, only then you will see anything reflecting in the rows. As of now, it's showing 0 out of 0. You have completed building 3 types of sheets. One thing is missing in a standard sheet. You can see accounts here, correct. In a cube sheet, you can see accounts here, but in a model sheet, you cannot see accounts in the front end. You will only see model accounts in raw details, which is once you do right click on it and you open a new tab. Basically, these are all model accounts for this particular workforce planning sheet. How you can build model accounts for a model sheet. You will have to again open the sheet which you created, which is CF model sheet, and this is the section which we love to work on. I will click here. Whatever accounts you are going to create will only be reflecting and only be visible inside this sheet and not inside that sheet. Suppose I'm going to create a new calculated account. By default, there is only a calculated account that can be created in a model sheet. This is also an interview question where they ask you, can you create a standard account in a model sheet? The answer is no. There is only a calculated account because only calculations, things should be created in model sheet. In a cube sheet, all type of accounts can be created a standard account or calculated account. Same goes with the custom standard accounts, your standard sheet. All types of accounts can be created and presented here, but in a model sheet, only calculated accounts are created. Let's create one calculated account. I would say that I am just computing the salary here. I'm just taking the basic salary, and this is my currency. Again, I change it to currency. At the moment, I'm writing it 0 and saving it. I'm just saving it as fuck. It's saying that basic salary code is not same. I will do it like this, basic underscore salary. I will create another account. I would say variable salary. This is also my currency. I'm just writing 0 just to save it because it will not allow me to save unless it is not unique. Again, I would do. Maybe I can write just account here, AC city, AC is. I'm going to create another bonus at bonus, just sending 0, and then I'm just creating a final account. Let's say this is my total salary. I will explain you why we have to create these accounts. We are already capturing salary in the columns. You know you will be asking that I've already entered this level of information in the columns. But you have to understand that in a model sheet, you are entering the data in columns. In Adaptive, you cannot address columns. In Adaptive, you can only address accounts. If you want to, if you want to, if you want to flow data from one account, from one sheet to another sheet, you have to do it in the form of accounts only. Only accounts is the source of contact between any kind of models. You cannot say that I have entered the data here. You just address it by column. You suppose you want the data in model 1 and this is your model 2. There are two different models. There are two different models. This is your model 1 and suppose in model 2 you want to populate the data of your basic salary. You want the basic salary of Thomas. You want the basic salary of Thomas. In order to fetch it in the model 2, you need to create an account in a model 1. In this model 1, you have to have a certain accounts in the model 1 that you can use it to link it in different models. Because you cannot address the columns to model 2 at the moment you are capturing the data inside columns. This is the columns. You will see. You are capturing the data here. You know you will have a Thomas salary here. 50 rows will be important here, 50 employees. You will have basic salary, variable salary, and bonus written for Thomas. But you cannot address that column to another model. There is no VLOOKUP function in Adaptive. In Excel file, you can do VLOOKUP agree, but in Adaptive, in order to make that linkages, you have to record these columns in accounts also, and that is only for the number accounts. Which are the number accounts for us in this? There are 3 number accounts. Only for this account is required. Account is required for only the number accounts. Model accounts. I am going to write that you will understand later on. Any kind of number, you have to make sure that it is recorded also in an account. If it is recorded in columns, please make an account corresponding to that column. In that, what you will do is you will just create a basic salary account. You are just creating a basic salary account which you are saying that just make it equal to basic salary column. This is simple now to understand. You are just linking the column to the account that in. If you want to address something in the future, you will use this basic salary account. You are doing this kind of settings here. You are just linking it with the column. And if you want this total salary, this is your model number 1. Now I am saying that your total salary should flow in your income statement into expenses. That is a requirement because you are obviously having an income statement at a consolidated level. This total salary will flow in that account, will flow in that model. Can you address the columns here? The answer is no. You cannot address the columns. And you can tell that I have recorded in the columns. Take it from the columns. That is not a good option. It's always basically linking it in the back end, and it's a simple formula. Let's write the formula for all of them and you will understand. What will be the formula for basic salary? I have just written the formula for basic salary here. It is this account should be equal to this account. Let's say I am going to open, I will delete this 0. What is the first thing that is opening here? It is the formula assistant. Ignore the remaining things. We will do this in detail because this is a whole big topic. Now, what are you noticing here? What you notice? Whenever you click on Formula Assistant for this model, what is the thing that are popping out? It's all the columns that you have built. You built just now all these columns. You built these columns, right? It's all the columns that are mentioning here. What is the basic salary? It is linked with this column. I double click it. Do you see? Row basic salary. Your row is nothing but that particular employee. What is row? Let's say this is Thomas data. This is Renee. This is summer data. Your Thomas salary is 5,000 and salary is 6,000. My salary is 5,000 again. For this particular, there is one row, right? This is a row 1. This is row 2, right? This is row 3. Sorry, row 3. Correct. Every as and when you add the employees, there will be different rows, correct? That's why for this particular row for Thomas, for Renee, for Summer, it will take basic salary for that row only. That's why this is row basic salary. I'm just clicking on because you're just linking the columns. I click on save. Same goes with variable salary. You click on formula assistant. You will notice that all the columns are there here. I will delete the 0 which I added. I will double click on variable salary because I'm just linking both of the things. I'm linking the column to the account. I'm clicking on bonus here. Bonus should be linked to. Bonus should be linked to your. This one double click row bonus. It's safe. Now tell me what should be the formula for total salary. It is basically just the addition of all components. What I will do is I want the addition of these two things. I would go here because I've created that in model. It's in models. I will go down because my model sheet is here. This is my model sheet, right? CF model sheet salary. We created 3 accounts and I want to add this as the total. Basically, this plus this is equal to this, correct? I'm simply going to add this plus double click. Add this plus this account plus this account plus this account gives my final number. It is very necessary when one model is going to flow to another model. And this is the beauty of adaptive. Because it is connecting several models. There are several interconnected models in adaptive, and that's why within one change, all the models are changing instantly. It does not require you to have the logic set for every Excel file. You just do the interlinkages between one of them and you link the total salary to your final income statement, and this, whatever you compute in this account, will flow in that model. It's that. Now is the accounts also clear? You need to understand what is the difference between a column and an account. In model sheet, columns is this we built for identifying what type of columns you want. I needed the C column that I understand. This is a dimension, this is a date column, this is a number column, currency. This is a number column, percentage. And then you build those columns. But then you understood that in order to have linkages between the interconnected models, whatever you record in the model sheet as a number format, you want that to be recorded as an account also. And you record it as an account, and then if you want several other accounts to be created, you can do it in the system in the backend. Initially, total salary is an additional account which we required in this sheet because we did the computation here. The three columns were just the linkages to the columns, but the final account which you created was an additional thing which was required in the sheet, that we have the final output of the salary. Now, final session, final question, and it is the most frequently asked question, that why, what is the difference between row and ACCT? This is a very important, and you will have to do your own research when you do model sheets also. Now, basic salary, you see row basic salary. Variable salary, you see the formula row variable salary bonus. You see row bonus total salary. You are seeing account this, account this, account this, account. Now, what is happening here? Let's do this with this example which we were doing now. I'm just going to do this here. For simplicity, I will write employee name. I'm just deleting this. Basic salary, variable salary, bonus, total salary. I'm making 4 columns here. You just need to focus on this thing. I'm highlighting in blue only this. Let's say variable salary. We have 20 figure something here. We have 24, we have 15 here. Bonus. Let's say we have 5,000, 5,000 for all. Let's say now you tell me what is the total salary for Thomas. What you will do, basically, in an Excel file, you will add this summation. Same goes with your remaining 3. Now tell me what is the total summation of your 3 employees. This is your summation. For Rene, what is the salary? It is summation of these 3, which is your 89,000. What is the salary for Summer? You will do this plus this plus this. Row 1, this is the output. Row 2, this is the output. Row 3, this is the output. Now tell me, if you want to address what is the basic salary now, you have to tell me in words what is the basic salary of Thomas. It is 5,000, but now in adaptive, you have to tell me what is the basic salary of Thomas. How will you write the code? Write the syntax. If you want to address in Excel, what you will do? It is C30. It is saying that C30 is basically C30. It is addressing this way. Similarly, in adaptive, what you will write? Will you write account dot basic salary or will you write row dot basic salary? This is my question. Which one you will prefer for Thomas? My question is, what is the basic salary for Thomas? I want to populate that value. Will you write the first one or will you write the second one? Second one. If you want this value, you want this. Now tell me. I want to write what is the basic salary for all the 3 employees. Now you understand that if the summation is like this, for basic salary summation is 16, it is coming to 160. If you use this, it is addressing this value. If you use this, it is addressing individual value. It is depending on the employee name. If you use this in this row, it will take this value. If you use this again in this row, it will take only for that row, correct? You understood when to use row and when to use the account. Similarly, now tell me what I want to address, the total salary of summer. The total salary of summer. Should I use account.total salary? You will utilize this. I will use this one, correct? And if I want to understand what is the total salary for all the 3 employees, you will do account. Now you know what is the difference between row and account. Now tell me, this is my total salary and I have utilized this formula, which is adding the accounts of all the 3 above. You tell me whether this formula is correct or it is not correct. This is just an account. This is just an account. I have created this total salary. Now I want this 70,000, for example. I want 7,000 for Thomas. Now look at this formula and tell me for Thomas whether the computation will be correct or not. Now what is happening in this account? Your final output is this for by default. For by default, you are getting 2,400 for everything. If you select Renee, if you select Summer, if you select Thomas, you will only see this particular value for all, which is wrong because your formula is wrong here. Correct. You need to understand when to use row and you need to understand when to use account. In order to change the formula, we have to correct this formula. What do? We will remove this act dot and we will replace it by row. We will replace it by row. We will replace the act syntax by row. Now tell me, is the formula correct? I can say that. Say, the formula is still incorrect. There is one thing which you also need to remove. Let's say, if we are saving this, what is it saying? What happened was, I will just show you here. Just read from whatever there is in the right hand side. Do you remember that while creating the sheet, we added a prefix to the sheet? Sif underscore model. Sif underscore model. All the accounts that you created is by default getting the same prefix code, and when you enter that in the formula, it is only supposed to be addressing when you are addressing as an account syntax. Whenever you use a row syntax, the prefix should not be used. I hope you are making notes. Whenever you are using the account syntax, you should always use prefix of the model sheet. Whenever you are using the row syntax, you should not utilize the prefix of the model sheet. Basically, I will delete the CF underscore model everywhere. I am going to delete everywhere CF underscore model. Now tell me whether the formula is correct. Basic salary, variable salary and bonus. It's correct. Now I will say, and this is going to give me the correct value of summer. Sorry, Thomas. This is going to give me the correct value of Renee, and this is going to give me the correct value of summer. And eventually by default in adaptive, you will get the total when you use the summation. Show total at bottom. If you do that, you definitely get the total directly here. But if you use directly the account syntax, what will happen? For all the values, for all the rows, this will be the output. This will be the output, which is wrong. This is not the correct output for Thomas, Renee, and Summer. They want the individual total salary first. Then give me the total. If you use account formulas, This is the problem that will happen. Please do like, share and subscribe to our channel. For more information, contact us sales@uptalk.com.